Mic
Mic
check.
check 1, 2. What is this? Santana's back to business. Let's go. Hey, mic check 1, 2, 1, 2. Check.
Mic check 1, 2. Yo, 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 yo. We are in the building. Let's go.
Is this really Jaden Smith?
I don't know. I can't see it from across the room.
Well, you know he's the new face of like male fashion, and they have him wearing like heels.
Yeah, he's been doing that stuff for years. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But we are back. Yo, yo, yo. I know. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. It's always a pleasure to be here. To be here for you guys. It's your boy Jive English in the building. Making it do what it do. Glad to have you all with us. Today's a serious episode. I'm gonna try to get serious. Really proud of this episode. I think we can put together some dope ideas. If it isn't love, man. I'm your boy Jive English, as always. But today, like no every other day, these days, the girl Shadira's in the building. Yo, what's going on, Shadira?
Hello.
Shadira is your friendly local neighborhood. Who done it and why? Bria is in the building. What's going on, Bria?
It's all good. Grits and gravy, my friend.
Grits and gravy, you
Grits
say.
and gravy.
All right, your boy. All right, calm down. All right, it's been great. It's been great. It's been great. Yeah, man, I want to get right to it. I want to jump right into it, man. It's a dope Saturday. The weather kind of broke. It's not as outstandingly cold as it was the last couple days, or at least overnight. So weather broke.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, if look, Savannah could really, really, really like what is the word? Spoil you. Cause what y'all call bad weather, anywhere else in the world, this is like Tuesday. But here, like people wear jackets in 70-degree weather, 60-degree weather.
Anything under 70, we freezing. We from the south. You tripping? Like you tripping. It's the south. Like anything under 60, you damn right we cold. But yeah, y'all come from up north and y'all be passing out at some 90-degree heat. Yeah, talk about it. People be oh, oh, oh,
And look, and the YNs down here wear whole hoodies in 90-degree weather.
thugging.
You be
Word.
like, boy, you know it is a rat trap up under there,
I'm talking
boy.
about people. Oh my god, we played in this.
It's crazy. We used to leave kids in the car in this.
They were smart enough to get out.
Lord have mercy. It was always one run into the stove and tell you it's hot. Can we roll out the window?
No. We sitting out the car. There she go. There she go. There she go. Keep it.
Yeah.
Like no, bitch, you been in there for a minute. It's about you going in there to get one thing.
Shit,
Yeah,
going in
bitch.
there, she browsing like
Right.
a motherfucker.
Bitch, we in here baking. It's rotisserie style of this thing. Oh shit! I'm gonna send this to my sister.
Yo, you okay over there?
I was just. I'm coming out of I was writing something vibe, so you gotta give me a little minute.
Oh, you were in the middle of us setting up. You was somewhere else.
Yeah.
Cause that's how you get down. That's how you do it.
Music don't stop.
It keep
Fair.
going.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You could lose your life, but it's going.
So, man, this episode, man, I want to talk about it, man. I want to get right into it. We got different love angles in the room. We got a man, got a woman, and we got a pimp. Um,
Am I though?
you see how you spoke? You know how you know what I'm saying? That hit dog be hollering like a motherfucker.
Listen, you came at me if you want harassment on the live, I can do a little something.
How I look on this camera? Go ahead.
But like,
You look like you look. You're a beautiful lady. I'm about to center the camera on you though. It's not centered as I thought it was. But
Booga booga boo. Oh, okay. Oh, well, let me close this a little.
oh
All right,
Lord.
let's go. Let's go.
Lord have mercy. Well, let's get the episode started. Yo, we talking about love like everybody else because apparently as a group of people, we have zero capacity to get around this issue. So maybe this can be another idea we could throw a hat in the ring and get some conversations going, man. I want to talk about if it isn't love. That's the title of the whole episode. Because in my eyes and my idea, in this era of like self-awareness, self-healing, and all these other tropes and ideas that get tossed around, does any of this even equal love? Does that equal? Does the way you treat yourself necessarily equate to how you are going to treat somebody else? Just because
Absolutely.
you think so?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you think the way I treat me is going to equate, going to dictate and determine how well I treat you?
Absolutely.
Why?
How are you going to give anybody anything? The words that come out your mouth, you're the first person to hear them. What you do. No. I actually like how it's centered. Don't mess with it. But you can't love someone officially until you love yourself. Then it's not love because you are searching for something. When you love it, how you deal with people, the certain people you choose is based on how you look at yourself. When it was a time when you didn't care about yourself, you tend to choose those type of people that will reiterate whatever you already feel about yourself. And when you start, and I learned this like going to the gym and getting that new confidence, that new love, because I proved something to myself. When I was feeding myself wrong and didn't care how I looked, and I'll be lying. I pulled in people that just fed off of that. Versus when you start to love yourself and actually take care of yourself, get to know yourself, you can't accept just anything because now you love yourself. You accept what you think you deserve. And I think that's all rooted in how do you feel about yourself?
I don't necessarily disagree. I just think that that's not necessarily, there's a heavy correlation obviously, but I don't think that's necessarily like a causative thing, right? I can think the world of me and think your job is to serve my perception of me.
Okay.
I can definitely be like, yo, I'm the shit with cheese, and look at how I'm in this gym, and look at how I take care of my property, and look at how I take care of my body, and look how intelligent and how many degrees I got. And I think you just some NPC that's meant to enhance my meanness.
Again,
And that happens a lot these days.
that's not about success. What are you trying to prove to yourself? Because that could be rooted in, because I know people like that too. Your success is just rooted in you. You're trying to prove something to whatever happened to you, whatever is drive your God, because you were serving whatever your reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if I find a partner, I need you to feed that, because that too, that is something that's just on the other scale of not doing it for yourself. Because how you say it's a polar opposite. It could be one side where I have no sense of self-worth and I have nothing and I am just letting people walk over me. And on the other sense, I am hyper independent, and I was picked on when I was a kid, or I was poor as a kid, or whatever happened to me. Now I am a serial goal chaser.
Mm.
And I need women, because you see that a lot. But that's not because they love themselves. That's because they're trying to prove something. They really hate themselves.
You think so?
Matter of fact, you saw American Psycho, right? Was it that, or was one of where he no, it was something called bully, where he has all of this and he still looks at himself in the mirror and spits at the mirror, like he does not like himself for whatever reason. But it's another part of you that has to succeed. So that doesn't mean that you love yourself. That just means that you good at working, good at performing, good at whatever it is. My opinion.
So how do you distinguish from one from another?
You pay attention.
How about you, pimp? How do you get your hoes to recognize how way strong that pimp hand is exactly? Uh, no, I mean, you've obviously, you've known love or you've known serious commitment or two. How do you when you hear these people like? Have you dealt with women who kind of like have these, or men? I'm sorry, that have these stern set of precursors that you gotta like understand before you deal with them. Or is that your job? Like, no, I lay the game down quite flat. I mean, tell me. I mean,
Mm, I won't necessarily say I do much of anything. Like when I even start conversating with somebody, I automatically just like from the convo, I kind of see if I'm going to give it more attention because I can't love you if I know I'm not going to pay attention to you. I can't care about you in a manner of a relationship if I'm not actually paying attention to you. So for me, I first see if they're going to keep my attention. And not only if they're going to keep my attention, but am I going to keep their attention? Because I'm going to just do what I do. And I'm not going to mistreat you because I'm going to show you I care if you sparked my interest, let alone if I'm actually trying to be with you. I'm going to give you more of my attention, more of my time, just so you can see that, like, I'm trying to actually care for you. So I'll give you more of my attention, more of my time. I'll want to know things about you, like, are you healthy? Have you, like, not just healthy in this manner of like you eat, you work out, or whatever the case may be. I mean, like, what you thought about today. What are you thinking about? What are some goals? What are some stuff that's going to keep you, like, processing? Because I know how I am when I'm processing. So I don't go into a situation and be like, oh man, like I got to set up this because I learned how I wanted to be treated and how I should treat another person, especially if you're talking about like a relationship wise, to where you should treat your relationship a certain type of time. Because as much as this is probably gonna sound lame, I actually learned about relationships not only from like books, but watching like old people and stuff like that. So I've read plenty of like books and different like avenues like that before I actually seen like how people together actually take care of each other when they're in a relationship. So I don't just think like, oh man, I'm going to be on whatever with somebody. I knew from a childhood what I wanted out of a relationship. It got more perfected as far as it got better, to where as I began to really know and understand my adult me, not just like the me growing up, but every year, every day, you know, as I started learning myself more, I was able to like fill in spaces more on how I know I want to be treated, to where when we hit those curves, those bumps, then I address those things, but I don't have to come out front and be like, oh yeah, you got to do this, you got to do that, boo, boo, boo. Nah, because I'm not trying to control you. I want to see what you're going to do because your patterns, your habits are going to show me how you're going to be with me. And if I notice your patterns and your habits aren't something I want to contest to, then yeah, it was nice talking to you, but we're not going to be together. We're not going to officiate nothing. We'll never be in an official relationship. And I'm probably going to text you or tell you, hey, it was nice while it lasted, but I don't think this is going to work.
Bria, you definitely, you know what I'm saying. What did you hear? What did you hear from?
I mean, I agree. I agree with the the courting aspect of your question, because that's the same. I mean,
I mean, are we leaving a little mystery out of it if we were walking in with so many presets?
what do you
Like,
presets?
like all of the traumas and the triggers and the expectations and the standards, and it's like, yo, can we get through a first date first? Can we get through a, hey, how are you? What do you like to do? Like, can we do the normal stuff
I think
before
that's what she
we
was saying
yeah,
on the. I have first of all, I have to see if you pique my interest. I
right.
do because if you don't catch my interest, I'm not gonna pay attention. It's gonna be unfair to somebody. That's like vice versa. If you have, I have all you have all my attention, and you just I don't have all yours. So that's that to it. But I
But then there's also inside, wrapped inside of all this, there's that you got to make sure one or the other party loves you more than you love them in order to secure this relationship. So now you're sort of gearing the conversation or gearing the relationship towards somebody having more vested interest in the relationship than somebody else. Like you'll hear, and I'm not, because I've heard men and women say this, right? You got to make sure they love you. They love you more than you love them. That's the only way you kind of insulate yourself from hurt or cheating or whatever, wasting your time.
I think now that I think the saying stuff like that is you trying to manipulate love. A lot of us want to manipulate it because it takes to be in love. To me, is you have to have full knowledge. Well, no, I ain't gonna say full knowledge. You have to have a certain amount of knowledge of yourself fully. Even if you do have some unprocessed shit going on in your life, you still have to at least be able to acknowledge it. Because that's the only way you're knowing you're picking that person out of reality and not a necessity. Like you're picking the right person. Because there's some people, like, see, I know a friend, I won't say her name, like, she knows how to pick these shitty ass men, but she's so, she does not think of it. She don't think it at all, but she's so codependent. And it's actually cringy to watch it, but she really don't see that. And her relationships always end up so just in turmoil, and to the point where it's toxic to even have a friend who has a honest view of you, because you have to be her yes man to be a friend, because you can't come between dick and pussy, and you try to go and she would turn on you because she's that fucked up
Good.
when dick come round. Seriously, and I can name probably three that are just like this. Dick come round, or it's that man, and it's not love. You calling it love, but that's not love. That's your interpretation, and you are hiding behind the word love, but that shit ain't love. He needs you because he needs somewhere to fucking stay, and you want him around because you cannot sit by yourself. We gonna call that love? Just because they sticking in together? No.
I want to say this as a side note. I don't believe in that term. You gotta love somebody who loves you more.
Yeah, I
I
don't.
believe you gotta love somebody. You gotta not first off. It's nothing wrong with loving somebody, but you have to want to be with somebody that loves the relationship, the work of the relationship, more than they love a person.
Mm.
Because in a relationship, it's literally a commitment. Y'all literally had a verbal or in marriages, a written agreement to be with each other. So it's like from there, it's not going you ain't going to always love a person even when you listen to these older relationships to where they be like you're not going to always have love for that person.
Or even like them.
Like but y'all recognize that we're in this together, and even when we don't have those moments where we don't love each other that much or we don't like each other that much, that's always a point of us being able to come back to what got us started in the first place. Even if we go and branch out from each other, not necessarily like, oh, we broke up, but if we're like on the far end of the relationship from each other, to where that gives us the opportunity to come back. Either somebody needed a little space to, like you said, get to know themselves better, because as relationships go, like people grow. And it's one couple that I seen on this like seminar to where they was like you have to recognize that your person is going to grow and you got to learn to grow with them, because
Mhm.
as you're growing they're growing and the relationship is growing to where y'all always have the opportunities to become new people with each other. Like that's the whole point of being in a relationship and moving forward with them. You're not going to stay the same person you was with this person about 5 years ago. You're going to become better. Hopefully become better. You don't want to become more toxic. And in that case, I feel like you have to be with somebody that actually appreciates that work, that actually appreciates taking that effort, not just because I love you or I like you, but because I know I want to do this relationship. I want to be in this relationship. I want to make it work because I agreed to make it work. And I'm not just going to tap out whenever it feels comfortable to tap out, especially when we done officiated or officially stated that we're together, not only with us, but our peoples and everybody know this. And not just on no boyfriend and girlfriend vibe, because I mean, a lot of people, they'll be forever girlfriends, forever boyfriends, but even more importantly on marriages, like you officially agreed on this. Like let's make this work, especially when you say vows like till death do us part. Like it's a one line where somebody was like, "How you gonna say it's till death do us part, or ride or die, and you still alive and you ain't here by my side? You should have been dead right now." Like if we're gonna be serious, like, but me personally, I take them very seriously. So no, I don't play with these hoes because that's how they are, horse, and they'll never get my real
I
attention.
say it take a lot for me. I know something like I say, I know women who every boy they talk to, every guy they talk to, that's my man, that's boo, that's bae, that's it takes a lot for me to put a title to you. You'll hear me like, yeah, this is yeah, this him, yeah. You would never really hear it takes a lot to hear me say, that's my man. Yeah, no. I might fuck no. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's asking a lot.
So I mean, is that why? Like, are we just afraid of kind of like what we call the inevitable, like how it's gonna eventually break down?
No, no, no. I feel like because when you walk into any relationship, the fact about this relationship is you're either about to be another heartbreak or we're gonna get married.
Okay.
That's it's either gonna go there or go there. And as you get older, the most important decision you're gonna make in your life is who you have next to you. Cause you can meet somebody, like I say, we it's something that that person so close to you can't nobody piss you off like that, your mate. And so you need somebody who gonna celebrate with you when you're happy. Can I tell you good news? Can I tell you bad news and you not make it about you? Can you listen to me? Can I tell you good news and you genuinely be happy for me? But if you're dating somebody who and that's where when you go to levels and you should date on your level, you should. Not because you feel like you better than, but when you on your purpose and you're dating someone who's not living a purpose and they just that will under underlyingly turn into jealousy because there is something called your mate could be jealous of you because no matter what, whether it's your mate, whether it's a friend, whether it's anybody in your parameter, when you are on purpose, that person it shows them what they're not doing. So now you're in a trap of a toxic relationship. We try to measure, oh, they've been together forever, so their relationship must be good. No, that don't mean it's good. Cause like you say, you should be growing as a couple. But if you're having the same drama, if every year you catch him cheating, you crying, stay, you go through his phone, he do this, you say sorry, that's what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So you with the same person, yeah, y'all together 5, 6 years. But where is the growth? Where have you grown as a couple in any sense? Anybody getting their credit together? Anybody got a car this year who didn't have it yesterday? Why are we like, is there any growth anywhere? If not, then that's codependency disguised as love. And to be honest, if you want to break down the formula of love, it's familiarity versus time. I'm familiar with you, and I've been with you the longest.
I mean, there are people though. There are people
I mean,
who. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
there
Go
are
ahead.
successful couples. Don't take that wrong. But what we see now, everybody, and like I say, it's not a black thing, it's not a white thing, it's a cultural thing. It's this bagels, it's this vacations. No one wants to do the work. So, but yeah, I just want to clarify. I do believe that there is true love, but what we're seeing a lot, I don't think it's it.
So let me hit a couple points, right? So when we are talking about like love these days, and we're talking about the do's and the don'ts, the wills and the won'ts, we always seem to wrap around to the same few topics, right? And those topics center around three cultural traumas that we seem to constantly be under the threat of. One is financial. One is power, and then the other is fidelity, right? So it's money, power, fidelity. We are historically emasculated people, right? Not just men, but women. Uh, and other cultures that celebrate success, especially in the current, in the contemporary world, their women experience success too. Their women have high power positions. Their women own businesses. Their women are effective community leaders, all types of stuff. And our community, on both sides of the coin, even though it's a separate, there's like nuances to the way it's happening, we're both being emasculated. We just came off the beginning of the year, 500,000 black women laid off. That's a mass exodus of black power being sucked away. You see what I'm saying? To the point where they're, not for nothing, uh, there were some jeers from some black men who sort of liked that happened, right? Because there was this idea that there was this arrogance about their class status, blah 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 blah. And then when you go to fidelity, like we've turned cheating into its own subculture. Cheating has rules, it has names, it has classifications, and we play with it all the time. These are side piece rules, and this is and it's and it's work bay, and it's this and this that, and think like a woman, cheat like a man, all this other stuff. We got a lot of stuff going on, and then power, fidelity, and then money, and then we all understand how money has been, money, resources, capital, those things that create stability, um, have a way of having a say on who we pick for ourselves, right? Because we are we're one of the most housing insecure people, one of the most labor. Like if you look at the black sector of society, we are constantly at 1920s depression level unemployment all the time. If the rest of the country experienced unemployment at the rate African Americans do, they would have called it a depression. And we're constantly at that level. This is why they say African Americans seem to weather the rise and fall of, the boom bust system of capitalism better, is because we're kind of always in the bust part of it. So when it booms for you, it doesn't necessarily boom for us. But when it busts for you, we've been here. You see what I'm saying? It's like that meme where the dude's being hung and he's looking over at the dude and like, oh, first time? Like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I've been here. It's not a big thing. So all these metrics have a way of determining how we choose each other, how we evaluate each other, and then the things we say about each other in order to sort of validate what we qualify for, right? Because if I'm successful to whatever standard I set for me, because we are the most, through all those metrics I just discussed, we are at the bottom of it, unfortunately. But when we talk about ourselves, when if you let a black person in these times describe themselves, I never met a broke black person yet. Everybody's making over $100,000. Everybody knows how to treat somebody. Everybody is the victim of somebody that they love that wasn't worthy of their love. Everybody's boundaries are healthy. Everybody's triggers are righteous. And nobody has met anybody that has stepped up to the plate and fulfilled their role. A role that you created, you wrote down to the letter, and the person that comes into your life has to know these lines, word for word. There's no improv in it, none of it. And then we turn around and with all these institutional traumas that we suffer, infidelity, we turn around and pretend that none of these things that we are basing all these standards on and expectations on have anything to do with how I receive you, how I receive your what we like to call love language, and how I qualify it, right? On top of the way social media has taught us how to be so performative. Because love is not just a thing you do anymore. It's a thing you perform because you're always under the lens of not just the person who you're trying to get to. I'm performing for the audience that surrounds you. Because if I want to get with Bria, I got to understand Bria got to follow it. And I can't show up busted, dusted, and disgusted because I'm going to embarrass you in front of your fans. And now everybody got fans. Some people only have fans. See what I did there?
OnlyFans.
So now I'm not, even if I've done you wrong, even if we were in a bad patch, I'm not even apologizing just to you. I'm apologizing to your audience because your audience thinks they have a right to an apology because I've injured their star. You feel what I'm saying? These are stakes that we, without talking, without saying, we've put the weight of our performance under. It's become terribly performative.
Okay. I'm going to touch bases on number one. Marriages were designed to be economically, to help economically, an economic partnership. You married your daughter off to a suitor. That's what betrothals was. Like I said, my family, that's what happened. But that doesn't necessarily, that's what it was for. Not because you wanted your daughter to have, you raised your daughter to be a good mother, a good wife. You raised her for that. And vice versa, that boy or that man can carry on this legacy and bring your daughter, whatever. That's what it was. So as far as finances, we really want to play like finances don't matter. Yes, the hell it do, because you can't take care of these bills on love. Have you ever dated somebody financially irresponsible? It's fucking miserable. Oh, I'm planning for this and I'm trying to pay this and you done spent your whole check. So now we got to rob Peter to pay Paul and it's two of us. We can't make our bills and it's two of us. We want to play like finances. Finances matter in a huge way. I'm not telling you you got to make what I make. You ain't got to be rich. But are you financially literate? Because who gives a fuck? That shit matters. And if it don't matter, go date a financially irresponsible motherfucker and tell me how that's going in your life. And I guarantee you're going to be singing another tune. Anybody who do it. Secondly, when we talk about the rules of side bitching and all of that stuff, I feel like that is just because if you gonna do it, if that's what you want to do, and you make it in your mind that you want to mess around with another woman, man, and you want to play the game. Like I said, there is rules to anything. Don't be accept that role. Don't be calling that man on damn Christmas Day. You know you the day after Christmas. The fuck you mean? Them rules, but that's what you want to do, then do it right. Don't cause confusion in that man life. Don't cause confusion in that woman life if that's the role that you choose. That's all they saying. It don't have to go that way. But if you want to be that person, then accept what come with their lifestyle. That's all that is. If you gonna date a woman for her body and because she OnlyFans, don't get mad when she out here popping pussy and everybody can see what you getting mad for. That's what you signed up for. If you got a man who like to trick off and he got you by tricking off, and don't be mad when he, because this is what you signing up for. I don't think it has to be like how you say two things can be true. We are coexisting in a whole bunch of different worlds right now. Social media has opened up the doors to so many different lives when we only knew what we saw in front of us day to day. And since everything is all jumbled up now, everybody's separated. But I encourage you, go out there and date. If you are on a stool where you feel like it's all wrong, go be a highly successful man and go date a woman that ain't got no type of shit going on with her and tell me how that go back. It's just facts. You date somebody and you have drive, or you are a single father and you are strict to your kids, go date a woman who don't have kids and she ain't got no responsibilities. Oh, I'm not judging her, but see how that coincides with your life. You have to know yourself well enough to see what works for you. Cause yeah, to date me, I handle this shit by myself. So what I need was somebody who can't, and no, you don't have to have as much as I have, but you gotta have something. Like I say, I've dated a dishwasher. He was a dishwasher at 2 restaurants in Savannah. Saved his money, had money. No, he didn't make the money I made, but that man worked. So no, I ain't push him away. But I have dated a man who was always trying to get right. You always down on your damn luck. Every time I look at you, you down on your damn luck. When the hell you gonna get up? Why? Because them your choices, that something you're doing in your life with the choices you make. That ain't my fault. Oh, I'm wrong because I don't want to date that type of person. Or because that type of person who don't have nothing, like I say, it's for me. You might want somebody who ain't got nothing going on. That's cool. But for me, because I know how hard it is to walk this earth and to pay the rent that I pay by myself. Why would I devalue myself? And it's about, there you go, self-love. It come in a circle. You gonna devalue yourself by dating somebody who didn't even put in none of the work, and they just gonna reap off your benefit? They ain't gonna appreciate it because they ain't have to work for it. So now you in the circle. Now you can meet somebody on the other side who is perfect, but you have to know for yourself. And go back to Shadera of, I have to talk to you to see where this go. And it might it might be a month later where I'm like, it was fun, but yeah, this ain't gonna go nowhere. So go back to what Shadera was saying. But anyway, go ahead. I'm done. I was just trying to touch all your.
No, I get it. I get it. Because I've heard all the stuff, right? But here's my problem, right? We come to these problems with we come to these problems with more problems to add, right? So if our solution to cheating is to treat it like an institution,
What you mean, treat like an institution?
like treat it like it's an immovable, like it's a thing, like it's something that we just all have to deal with, right? Because we've even in some weird way valorized infidelity. We've valorized, and by that I mean,
Who? First of all, who is the we?
as a coach, as a people,
No, no, no,
these
no, no.
in the contemporary, and maybe
Some
not
people.
you, maybe not
Some
you.
people. It's a group, just like it's a group of bitches who want to be side bitches. Some people who they can deal because it's okay. Well, he taking care of home, but like I said, it's a different stroke for different folks. And right now, we are making it seem like it's not everybody because it's a group of people who still believe in the traditional marriage. I am one of them. That's why I have not gotten married yet. I knew girls who got married straight out of high school. I knew that that's not what I wanted because I'm not gonna play with God like that. I'm not gonna stand. I'm not gonna play with myself like that. I'm not gonna play with your time like that.
But if we, but here's the thing, I've asked this question before, and I'm gonna ask it
Go ahead, Shadira.
directly to
I need
Shadira.
to jump in.
I'm gonna ask it directly to Shadira. Can you do anything well that you do not devote time, energy, and focus on? Can you do anything well that you don't dedicate those three aspects of yourself to? Time, energy, focus.
Mm, it all depends on what your idea of well is.
Like to a sufficient degree, right? Like, can you do music as well as you do? Can you be a great, a CDL driver? Can you be a great, a mechanic? Can you be a great IT tech? I don't know, whatever it is. A basketball player, a fireman. Can you do any of these things with efficacy, like being effective, without time, energy, and focus?
No, it's like how they say to be a master, you need at least 10,000 hours on it.
Right.
Right.
So, how are we expecting ourselves, expecting our partners to do relationships well when we don't practice relationships, right? We practice exit strategies all day because everybody knows what's going to make you leave. That's what all this is all about. Every other day, you're figuring out another way to find another reason to encode somebody's shortcoming as your reason to get the hell out of Dodge.
You can look at it as half full. You can
Go
choose
ahead.
to look at it like the glass is half empty or half full in that state. Because it could be, oh, I'm looking for an exit strategy, or my time is too like you say, I'm getting to know somebody because I know because like I said, if you come to the table and I know me, I don't know me fully, right? Because I feel when you do meet somebody and it is solid enough to where we can balance off each other, I'm going to learn more about myself, because that is an area where I've never experienced fully.
Mm-hmm.
But I know myself well enough to know, are you just, because if you're not adding, you subtracting, and that don't mean money. That means to your life, because the wrong person will either make you better or make you half of yourself. Those are just facts. You can meet a woman who was doing good, and then she met this man, and now it has stripped her. Just vice versa. You could meet a man who was doing well, and this woman that just took him down and got pregnant with him, ran off with his kid, put him on child support. And you like, damn, what happened to John? Boy, John used to be up.
Okay.
Bria used to be up. But you do get to know yourself. Because like I say, that's what you're dating is. You're learning yourself. Until you find that person that you can, because like I say, you got to know you. You find somebody that you can, what Bob Marley said it. Everybody has baggage. You got to find out whose baggage you can carry. Everybody come with something, but does it coincide with yours? Do your more, and I believe it's in a moral aspect. Wait a minute, let Shadera go, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess for me, I'll take it to like chemistry, right? In chemistry, how do you know they can actually fit if you don't kind of mesh them? So in that beginning,
right?
In that beginning phase, I feel like it starts based off of what you know about yourself already, not just based on like, do you look good? Is there certain things about how you keep yourself that I like? It takes a little bit more. The more you talk to somebody, the more you kind of get their history as far as not only with them, ask the questions as far as like their past dating, even ask like their family orientations and stuff. Start asking certain questions to where that gives you an outline of whether or not you want to pursue it or not. Then it's like once you get that outline, of course, once you actually officiate it, that's really when we're really getting to know each other even more. We're starting to really get into each other's inner world even more. So where I'm giving you more time, I'm putting in effort just like you're putting in effort, and we're actually fine tuning that knowing and that understanding of each other to where we'll have those things to a certain level. But as time goes on, as those 10,000 hours kick in, like that's when you really realize whether or not, because what is that, like 2 years? That's why they say most relationships, as far as once they officiated and whatnot, it's within the first 3 years they either
Mhm.
break up, and then
Mhm.
after, if they make it past the 3 years, it's like 6 or 7 years. That's a possibility of when they'll break up as well. So it's like you go through these periods to where, as I'm putting in more time with you, that's where that famous line, you got to grow with that person. And if you officiated that relationship, you pretty much let it be known that I want to be with you, and that's through this time. Like I'm putting in that notion that I'm here to grow with you. I'm in this relationship with you. We agreed to be together for, I mean, unless you want some of them people that got relationship contracts where people got relationship marriages, and they only got, like, they put a certain time limit on it, and they put some stipulations like kids and whatnot. But if you got into a relationship knowing that you want to see the longevity of the relationship, to where you're not just boyfriend and girlfriend, or courting if you don't officially like boyfriend and girlfriend it, to where eventually it'll get to a marriage, which is meant to be a long lasting thing. So it's like when I look at it, based on when I look at it, it's more like, that's, I guess it's why some people say you should take at least like a year or two of courting somebody to really get to know them, to know whether or not you want to officiate the relationship, to where y'all want to officially be together, to where I agree to be with you, you agree to be with me, we agreed to make this work, and we agreed to push this forward. But I think the problem is, a lot of people, they don't actually take that phase, that courting phase. And I don't even like the girlfriend boyfriend situation either, because you pretty much letting somebody pretty much milk the cow without owning the cow. And it don't matter if it's a girl or a dude, to where you letting these people milk the cow and never having to like officiate
Commit to
nothing,
it.
commit to it. And you've got people that'll keep you as forever. That's my boyfriend forever. That's my girlfriend forever. But you never want to officiate it,
But you'll
because
give them a baby though.
and because you just really like the benefits. You don't actually want the the actual.
You want the good. You don't want the bad out of it. And she said something that I want to bring to your question. To your question,
Okay.
she brought up particles in science.
Mm-hmm.
How is in it, look at the relationship now as, or relationships, or how the world is as science. When you are coming up with your particles, your hypothesis, you are putting things together to see what fuses. And when you find, and not everybody you meet you're gonna fuse with, but you might find somebody, okay, we're gonna go to phase two of the quote unquote experiment. We're gonna add more different particles. We're gonna test it on an animal. We're gonna give it a field test. That's what they call it. We're gonna put it in the field.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can meet somebody, y'all do fuse, but when you get to this field section, it's you done been around them long enough. You done seen them angry, and now okay, that your anger, the way you handle stuff, how you treat anger, how your dependence on alcohol, or me getting to know you in these seasons, you didn't pass the field test. So then you can meet somebody, and it goes into how she explained the courting. Before you get to the courting, you are going through a series of trying to find what fuse and find what can stand in the field before we start the courting. Because before you get to the courting is actually when you're actually doing the testing. When you're going with that, you've done the research, you've done the experiments on it. Now this is something I'm sure gonna work. That's why we have what revamps of medicines, because oh, now we have a different, we found something else. So that's the same thing that's going on with relationships. You have to find, like I say, what works with you. But the only way you would know what works with you is if you know you. Like you, into what you said, no, it's nobody's fault. And again, that's how you know who to pick. Because if I date somebody who can't tell me one bad thing about themselves, I know that you lack accountability. That's a sign right there. Oh, that fuse going down. Oh, I don't think that's fusing.
I mean, I don't disagree, but here's the thing.
Side note.
Go ahead.
This is all the way side note where she said that nobody to blame the government.
The government, you blame the government?
Blame the government.
It is always that person's fault. It's always that person's fault. It's always, you meet somebody, you can't take accountability. That's why it comes getting to know each other. Because I got a whole surefire, what I do, I take a man around Lake Mare.
Okay.
Lake Mare, you got three major parks in Savannah, which you got Lake Mare, Daffin, and Forsyth. Forsyth and Daffin, you have cars on all sides.
Mm-hmm.
And they are very popular parks. Lake Mare is kind of ducked off in the corner. Go walking with me. We're going to leave. This is one time I know that I can get you without your phone because we're working out. I got your full undivided attention. And you're not always looking on your side because you ain't got to worry about a car riding past and who you looking for. No, I got your full undivided attention. I'm going to bring up. Tell me the craziest thing happened during sex.
Crazy.
Wait, what?
Right.
All right. Now listen. You see how that stunned both of you. No, seriously. This is psychology. You see how that stunned and threw both of y'all off. You don't expect that from me, and you don't expect that to be a first relationship. But what I'm doing, I've made you comfortable enough to open and talk to me. So now you sharing stories. I'ma listen twice and speak once.
You hear that, world? Watch out.
And the only thing I'm doing is listening for your stories. I have made you comfortable. I have broke that wall, and you gonna get so comfortable, and I'm gonna hear everything you talking about. Cause I pay attention to verbiage and the words that you use. Cause people know what they're saying.
Hear that?
But are you listening to receive what they're saying? Then I'm gonna bounce to a relationship, and if all you can say is she, so you ain't did nothing, brother. You ain't did shit wrong in that relationship. Cause I'll admit when I did some fuck shit. But if you can, and that just shows your characteristics. That shows what I can get. You know, all right. And by 2 laps, I got so much damn information. Don't let it be 3.
Lord have mercy. Lord.
But no, I feel like that get to talk to somebody versus, oh my God, I got butterflies. We not kids no more. Your children about to see this relationship. You about to circle your life around this. You gonna circle. I found out this nigga don't like accountability. I'ma just be blind for 6 months, and I'm going through all kind of hell when this motherfucker showed me this shit in the first 30 minutes of me having a full conversation. This motherfucker don't take accountability. This motherfucker cheat. This motherfucker lie. Why waste all that time? Why waste my kids' time?
I'm not suggesting that you do that, but what I am suggesting that you kind of have 2 different ideas going on at the same time, right? Because there's certain things you just got to go through to get to, right? And if we're trying to figure out, is this person worth going through something with?
Exactly.
Without ever going through anything, right? I can't test my endurance before I go for the run.
But I can't teach you accountability either. That's not my job.
Right? No.
That's a basic, like I say, basic things. We're going after character.
Okay.
Character is the root of a person. Your integrity. How your character.
Okay.
Are you a strong person? Can you take constructive criticism? Because that's what a relationship is, right or wrong. Can I tell you did something without you jumping? Why should I wait 6 months to a year to try to teach something that I can't teach character? And like I said, we're grown. We paying $2,000 in rent by yourself, and you are taking care of children. Do you really have the time to babysit or reparent or re-raise?
So then here's my question though, and this goes to something I was saying earlier. I think I was saying it to Shadira. We were talking, I think yesterday or some point in time.
You see
Here
that
you
wink?
go.
See that wink?
All right, let's go. I want to hear.
We are not with our best selves choosing these ideas. See, these ideas that we're having right now about, the type of people and what we will and won't tolerate. Because when you were your most vibrant and your most wide-eyed and your most, and we chose, and these people who were the way they were, like you said, they were that way up front. There was a lot of sides that you walked right past because you thought that you could be you enough to make them be the them that you made up in your mind that they could be once they got with you. And then that turns into an ego trip because now accountability sounds like I just gave my best self to the worst people. That's not accountability. I was perfect to an imperfect person. And you hear this so many times. That it's how you get to this impasse about the quote unquote 50-50 talk, right? Because there are women who say I went 50-50 with a man and he wasn't yada 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 yada. So now the next nigga got to pay. And then you'll hear a man say, "Well, I paid all the bills and she didn't yada 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 yada. So the next bitch got to put in." Right? Instead of going, the type of woman, the type of man that I gave that effort to, I didn't require anything out of except for these exceptions to the rules that I gave them because of the carnal thing that they did. She was fine as a motherfucker. She didn't have to put in because what her beauty said about my masculinity was my payoff. But that's unsustainable. Again, we're the poor sector of society. Let's just do the math. That's just what it is. You feel how you want to feel about. If you don't like that assessment, you don't like math. And it's because it's just the facts, right? Do all the reading you need to do offline. Talk to who you need to talk to. Go to a preacher. But but the poorest sector of society seems to always have these strict financial rules. Like you were saying earlier, oh, we understood that in the past it was all about coming together under these, auspices of, arranged marriages. That's not the American dialect. That's not our history. That's not how we came to this point. So we can borrow other histories, cultures from 300 years ago and talk about how Genghis Khan and them did it. That's not how we do it here. That's not how it's ever been done here. So the truth is, we are in a system, right? Because, we could talk about finances. We're not talking about feudalism. That's never been America's thing. So talking about how we did things under feudalism is not an accurate depiction of how we got here. So when we talk about how marriages and relationships work here under the rules that we created, and all that's superfluous information. Doesn't have anything to do with this now. We get with each other because we need to like somebody. We get with each other because we have an ego complex. And somebody has to serve somebody's ego. That's just the reality of where we are. We can't get past.
But who is the we? I think the we is important because if we keep saying that's how we are, no, you're talking about a specific group of people. You're talking because we saying, oh, we. Ain't nobody in this room married.
Oh, I've been married, and
okay.
And I can tell you, after being divorced for longer than both of y'all have been adults, that lens of being able, it's your history is the only thing that gets clearer the further you get from it. That's fact. And after 20 years of distance, I can see that clearly. I can see who I was. I can see who I wasn't. I can see who she was. And I can see who she wasn't. And I can see the apologies that I did give with the lens that I had. I can see the apologies I still owe with the lens that I have now. But that takes time. Even in relationships, even if we lasted 20 years, those would still be apologies that I had to go, you know what, 20 years ago, I thought this. And I thought that with all my heart. And I was dead wrong.
Okay.
And 20 years later, even if we made it, I have to go, I have learned some things. I have come to some better understandings. And I owe you something.
And again.
So, but we never, wait. But we never make it to that point. because we are so sure that whatever that happened 20 years ago was an immovable impasse. Because when you talk to these old people who've been married for longer than either one of us have been alive, they went through some impasses. They went through some things that you were like, you what? And now that person is not their partner. That's their best friend. And they die 5 months after each other passed. Like, I can't imagine life without this person. But they've weathered some storms. We can't even stay in the rain.
Okay, pause.
But
All
go
right.
ahead. All right, go ahead.
I've met a woman, older woman, who's been married. And guess what she told me? She said, don't get married. She said, yes, I've been married 40 years. She said, but I lost my sense of self. Now, I only say that because that's what you said was not all. It's not always the case. Now, as far as I don't have to get married to realize that. Reason being, I could have been married. I am one person that could have been married 7 different times. If I chose, would I have been fulfilled in me? That's a choice for me because guess what? I am my best self right now. I am my best self right now. Nobody in this room is married because I'm pretty sure everybody in this room is dated, but it has never made it to the altar. Why?
Because the one I loved.
For whatever the reason is, it's your personal prerogative. We want to put everything in a box for something.
That person didn't want to marry me.
That could be a reason too. You can have for whatever reason, but the base of it all is if you have no sense of self, go ahead. I encourage anybody. We talk about, we don't care. Go jump into a relationship. If that's your argument, go jump into a relationship today. Go today.
Baby daddy in the making. Wink.
Go today.
You make me sick on my soul, boy.
But seriously, if that's the case, if that's your argument, because that's literally the same argument of a woman saying, or a man who's gonna tell a woman how to be a woman, and the examples of a woman you had isn't too good. That's like a woman saying that all about a man, and she's never had an example. If that's gonna be me, I don't have that argument because I've stuck it out in a relationship. I take accountability. For me is not saying I was right, because guess what? I wasn't always right, and I can say that. Hell, I can tell when I'm about to do some fuck shit. I'm pretty confident. Like, I don't know if this shit right, but I'ma just say such and such because I'm fully aware of myself. Go find somebody, and I'm not going to jump head first into shit. You know why? Because my kids mean more than anybody, because those are 2 people who did not deserve to be in this world. So I don't give a fuck. If I got to stay single to get them kids peace until I find, you know what, that's what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to bring anybody around me for the sake of, I'm trying to get to know him and bring hell into my kids' life. That shit will not fucking happen.
So, but that's what we do, right? So then now you created a false dilemma, right? Because the false dilemma is there is going to be hell. Right?
No, wait.
Yeah, that's the truth about anything. But the truth isn't either peace or hell and high water. That's the dilemma that you created, and there's nothing in the middle of that. There are some people who it's not hell and high water, just weren't compatible. Right? Mm-hmm. But if everything is either peace or hell and high water, then everything that goes wrong is an indicator of hell and high water. But every single
you just took my word. That is not what I said at all. That is nothing about what the. But
that is the metric that you put together.
If that's what it takes, because guess what? I have a plethora of people around me. Why does that have to be a relationship? I have a plethora of people that I can go to have a good conversation, and if it.
But that's not what we're talking about.
No. If it does evolve. If it can evolve,
okay,
it will. But that doesn't mean it has to be hell or high water. But I'm saying here today, I am not going to put up with just anything to appease what? Because you're saying I need somebody. Because we feel like we need somebody. We made mistakes. Why? I made 2 children out of wedlock because I did not make the best choice in who I chose. That's something I have to live with. So I have to protect what's already here. That's the problem. Everybody, with that ideology, It's women out here, it's men out here, because you're trying to chase this dragon of you need somebody there, and you will put yourself in jeopardy, you will put your family, and it don't mean hell or high water, but your emotional state. Because if you're dating somebody and your emotional state, or they throw off your emotion, now you snapping off on your kids. We can say that happens plenty. Your children suffer for your bad mistakes.
I'm not saying that
And
that
when
doesn't
you have
happen.
and when you are a parent, you have a certain you have a certain responsibility and obligation to your children. So yes, you better be a little bit more careful on who you date and who you bring around them, because that plays a big part. It don't have to be a dilemma or hell or high water. No, that is a prerogative of mine.
Can I say something? As,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, go ahead.
as a single childless person, right?
Mhm.
This is my perspective. I don't think everything's hell and high water, but it kind of turns back to something you said. So it was like
What I
some
say?
people ain't even. Don't worry, future baby daddy. I tell you,
She make me sick on my fucking soul.
if y'all didn't know, wink.
You so stupid.
Well, it's kind of like how you said. Some people aren't willing to go through the rain, and
Fire.
I'm a fire either. Be honest with you, personally,
Uh-huh.
when you are accustomed to your own space,
Uh-huh.
whether that space is only filled by you or by you and children, it's a certain thing that you see to where it's like, I don't want that space, that peace, that idea of peace that I created in here to be disturbed, to where even if it's a drop of rain, let alone it's a whole thunderstorm or just a whole hurricane going on. It does depend on your preference, but at the same time it's like that that's your I guess your right. This ain't, especially when we think about how relationships are today over here in America, to where I'm not forced to be in a I'm not forced to be in a betrothed, whatever, be betrothed to a
Yeah, I get you.
man
I
that
get you. I get you.
somebody like chose for me. I don't have to court somebody that the family says that is who we want you to marry. So in that sense, it's like I'm able to kind of pick my own storm I want to weather through. Now, that's not to say that you should just be overly sensitive about your space, because you could put yourself in a bubble or a box that keeps you away from somebody that could have been good for you. Like how you said, people be choosing people based off of, oh, she was just fine. That was it. I ain't see nothing else. And it could be the same thing on the opposite side, to where I see everything about you and I'm not liking that. And maybe some of these things are just things that I just got overly comfortable with myself, to where they're just behaving like a normal person, or at least their normal selves, and they're not meaning to cause me harm in our like talking or our courting and eventually like our relationship. But it is something that's happening. But I'm equating that as a red flag. I'm equating that as, nah, that's not something I want in my space, and do. And I'm gonna just say, personally, I've had my moments like that. I ain't gonna lie. It's been some times where I'm automatically seeing that as a red flag, because I've had a best friend before. I've had somebody that you couldn't tell me I wasn't gonna get married to this person, and that was gonna be my forever after. Screw all you guys. Like how you felt earlier about that one chick jive. Screw all y'all.
Yeah.
They come. That was my person.
Right.
Screw
right,
all y'all.
Right.
So it's like, on that type of time, when I think about that, and I think about how it is to have a best friend, not just somebody I'm in a relationship with, because it'd be some people that be married, and like that lady, I lost myself when relationships are supposed to not only fortify the relationship, but fortify who you are as a person within this relationship.
Mhm.
Even though you're an individual self and y'all are creating something together, you still have to recognize that I'm still me and I'm bringing something here. So if I'm not actually able to know myself or get to know myself as I'm growing in this relationship, how can I bring that offering to the relationship and make it work with you? Let alone if you're still trying to like grow within yourself and within this. That's why you see some relationships where people have their sporadic moments, their partner, to where they done, I thought y'all wasn't together because they such and such was doing whatever and boop boop boop, and they had their little moment, but then it's like they're back together because they needed that separate, not necessarily separation, but they needed that space to be able to understand why we're in this space together. And for me, I know that I don't be wanting my individual space messed up for just anybody. So if I'm
So, but that's okay. So, and I get that. I think the precursor is that, right? The precursor is a negative. The precursor is this space is not to be invaded by anybody problematic. And when you already have a defensive posture about your position, everybody that comes up is seen through the lens of an offensive,
False.
right? Wait. So everything that everybody said here, when you can go back and watch, has been this it's a defensive posture. It's a I have to make sure my kids defensive. That's all that is. I mean, and I'm a grandparent. I get it. I've had situations with adult children and the people that they've chosen, and I know I see that. I get that. Right? But to still say I'm going to, as a default, choose defense as a posture, right? It's the same as deploying troops to a humanitarian aid situation. Troops are not trained for that. You're not deploying your best self to the situation. You're deploying your troops. Troops are a show of force. So when you send your defensive self out into the world, you're sending your soldier. And going out into the world to try to find somebody who's going to cooperate with you on peace terms?
False. Okay,
With
let's
a
not keep jumping.
whole arsenal on your back of your traumas, your triggers, your tropes, all the things that you're going to use to deploy in defense of your position, and then turn around and say, "Well, I'm really just trying to find peace."
so this the reason why-
America is really good at doing exactly
No.
that.
Let me
Go
make
ahead.
So
though.
this
Okay.
ain't the reason why you ain't with me. All this sexual harassment I do for you.
Okay.
All right, now,
posture.
Alright.
Animated.
Yeah, right there. That defense right there. Like you were saying, a lady named Bria.
We would talk.
Go ahead.
You. Okay. All right.
She'll
Like
fuck
I
you
said-
up. She'll fuck you up.
No.
And she be
it's-
proud of that shit.
Don't act like that. Don't do it.
Go ahead.
It's not defensive. It's speaking for what you are allowing intimately to you. Peace is not something you born with. When you've gone through enough hell in your life, it's in the Bible. They talk about every successful person on any reel that you watch. Snoop Dogg. Come on, we gonna use Snoop Dogg for example.
Doggy dog.
We gonna use Snoop Dogg for example. Snoop Dogg often talks about how you have to cut people off. I have a plethora of friends, 4 guys. If I wanted to, I promise you. And guess what? It's not because they're perfect. It's not because they kiss my ass. It's not because they go or something. But you know what? You live a life where you value the same thing I value. You don't value bullshit. That's the point. Why would, just because you like me, I'm obligated to give you my time and deal with bullshit because we need why? That's why I'm not understanding the argument, because we're trying to generalize a topic that is not meant to be generalized. You cannot generalize relationships. You can't, just like how you said, all older relationships, they stay together. Fuck no. A good example. Anybody ever seen Lovecraft Country?
I wanted to.
There's one episode called I Am Hippolaya. And it's about her. Her husband died. And she got a moment to sit with her husband because she was in this manifestation state. And she sat with him and said, I was not happy. They've been together forever. They were best friends. But she finally had a moment in that part to tell him how she lost herself in that relationship. How she dialed back herself to make him to help him chase his dream. So it's a lot of older women And it wasn't just that one. I've heard that from a couple of older women. But again, we think that you either happily married or unhappily single. No, you can be happily single. You can be unhappily single. You can be happily married and you can be unhappily married. I have seen personally every aspect of every side of that. Because people, perfect example, people would look down on my mama. You know why? Oh, that's the single mother. She's single mother household. But it's a couple siblings she have. Yeah, they married. Look at each other. Because they spend more time arguing and fighting with each other than
but
helping their children.
So here's the thing.
So
right?
so what? So again,
Mhm.
again, and I've also seen a married couple raise a autistic child to be powerful. So again, we are trying to generalize something that cannot be generalized.
Yes, it can.
No, it can't.
Yes, it can. Let me tell
It
you how you know
cannot.
that, because propaganda,
But you are
commercialism.
not married. Right now.
Wait,
you
wait,
are not
wait.
married. You
Wait,
just got
because
out of a
but it
relationship. Why
does
didn't you
but
make it work?
because I have things that I have to own up to, right? But I'm a human being. I'm a finite creature. We are not infinitely many different ways of doing things. This is math. Everybody can find, and this is the American exceptionalism thing that we all do. We all try to find the one thing that makes it different than every other thing I've ever seen. It's not different. If you've been here long enough, and a lot of people like to quote the Bible, there's no new thing under the sun.
Exactly.
Not a one.
Exactly.
So nobody is doing something so phenomenally different that it doesn't fall into a rubric somewhere. It's
And you can be
easy.
happily
So when
married,
you
happily unmarried.
can you be happily married, and can you be unhappily married?
Yes, you.
Those are two metrics, right? So if these are two quantifiable metrics, then there are two things that we can find a way to find how you fell into them. It's not difficult.
But
So when you see these Pew Research things and they go, how did these relationships fall? And if we believe people when they report on whatever happens, we find out there's about 2 or 3 things that have the major precursors on how things tend to fall.
is
Now,
it
everybody
those, or is
okay,
it
go ahead.
that person has something, like I say, it's
Okay.
individualism. If you're dating somebody who doesn't have the same, they don't have the same vision, and we get married, and you are doing your own thing, and we can say, oh, it's on the surface level, we're arguing about boom, 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 but internally you're fighting this. Internally, he's fighting that. Yeah, it's nothing new under the sun. But everybody is fighting the same battle, just on different levels. So how, if I'm on this level and I'm dating somebody on that level, oh, we're trying to make it work, but we're not seeing eye to eye because you're not thinking in the same way I'm thinking. You're not going, and we're not going to have the same. That's like dating somebody who was built on survival versus somebody who was built on love. Those two will always crash. Yeah, there is no such thing, nothing new under the sun. But guess what? You can meet somebody who is single, but why? Because they don't love them, because they have whatever's going on in them. They are fighting a battle. They can't be alone, whatever. And you can have somebody who is happily single, who life is together, who is actively going on dates, trying to find what works for them. And they are happy. They are not drama. They have no peace. And guess what? This person fought for their peace. This person has everything and fought for what they got. And guess what? That person could get married 35 and live the happiest life. We feel like you got to be married by this certain time. You got to have this by this certain time.
Go ahead.
No.
That's not the argument I was making, but go ahead.
I wanted to say, I think that's the beauty of what a relationship actually is. A relationship, when we go based on what it means, that's literally you wanting, you're agreeing on making this a thing. So even when it comes down to that lady, to where the video, the Lovecraft, to where she was like, I wasn't happy, I lost myself in a relationship. But you wanted to do these things. You wanted to help him chase his dreams. Now, did you happen to lose yourself along the way? Yeah. But this is something you wanted. Nobody per se forced you to do it or be on it. You chose to allow this to happen. Same thing when we look at relationships, to where they be like, I'll even give an example of somebody to where they was like, oh, I don't really want to be with them, but I'm here because we got kids. Those people that be like, we got kids, or I'm unhappy, but we got this. How did Terrence say it at the comedy show when he was like, we ain't really together, but we broken up or something like that.
We a broke breakup.
We broke breakup. So where we technically refused to break it off because we slick need each other in certain type of aspects. And that happened in the past also, to where women didn't want to leave their husbands, or maybe a husband didn't want to leave her. But most of the time,
because I have, and this is a quiet thing, I have multiple male family members in long-term relationships, long-term marriages, with the family secrets that we all know that we got. Because, and I'm not, I ain't gonna speak too, loosely, but these men are not happy. Who's clocking? Who's checking in on them? Nobody. Not a soul. Because as long as he's working, as long as his bills are paid.
And that's
but that's good for him. So is it wrong for somebody who say, you know what, is it wrong? And this is the question. Is it wrong for the single person who say, I would rather just, because I can say, I don't think nobody, how you live your life, I think, what is it, Toon, shout out to Toon. Toon say, what makes you happy, do that shit. Because, so is this person who wants to suffer, I ain't gonna say suffer, who wants to go through life like that, is he better than the man who say, you know what, I've been through that, I have to answer for my sins, I was born alone, I'm gonna die alone, I'm gonna do what makes me happy. So is that man better than this man?
I guess because it's more, when I hear something like that, it's more like, it sounds like people are going into a relationship to find happiness. And a lot of people will tell you, your relationship can be of some things that can make you happy, but your relationship should not be the end all be all of what makes you happy.
Yeah, because you should be in yourself.
Like,
but you won't be happy every day. But I mean all day. But you should. I feel like you should at least be grateful when you wake up.
That's where I'm getting at when it comes down to the relationship, to where your companion, it's not just about the happy. It should be happy, but at the same time, real companionship, even when you get down to the nitty gritty of what a companionship is, this is somebody that's meant to be here through the rough times, through the hard times, through the sads, to where it might not be happy all the time, and you have to deal with those sadness. I'm not saying it's got to be sad forever, always, all the time. You're going through storms and everything, because who wants to live like that? Nobody wants to be miserable. Nobody wants to be depressed. But if this is your person, your relationship, you literally solidified, y'all put a verbal contract or even physical contract in that you're my person, I'm your person. Like, when you look at it, it's going to be work. You're going to have to work. You're not always going to be happy, just like you ain't always going to love them. You ain't always going to like them. But if you're committed to that person, this is a person you're committed to, you literally gave yourself over, you let it be known that I'm going to work it out with you. That's the whole beauty of the relationship. You want to make that happen. Some people, as time goes on, they just don't want to do it anymore. They feel like it's a lot of negatives or whatever that happens that causes you not to want to do it anymore. Even with you, Jive, when you said earlier, to where you was like, now, after 20 years, you think back and look at the certain conversations that y'all had, those apologies and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And you're like, you know what? Even if we were to had stuck it out and went through those ironings, just know if you ever with me till death do us part. But side note, outside of that, yeah, those 20 years, that's still 20 years. It's whether you chose to be together or now you're separated, but it's still those conversations on, this is something that should be addressed. This is something, even if it don't get addressed now, I don't care if it's a month or so down the line. My whole big thing is we agreed to be in this together. And if we agreed to be in this together, sometimes those hard conversations don't come at that moment. And I think what I be seeing the problem is a lot of people be wanting to give their best self to a situation that didn't even equate to getting a piece of the summary of your book, to where most people, if they do dive into it, they just dive gung-ho into it without actually checking the value, checking to see. And not to say like you should just have a checklist that keeps you all hoarded up to where you're going in injured, you're going in like a soldier ready for battle. But a certain checklist should be seen. First off, do I like you? Do our morals and whatnot line up? Do I see certain traits about you that I can see in myself, where I see where I'm going or what I'm trying to be on? What are certain things that can get us started on that I want to give this more of my attention, not just I want to actually make this a long-term thing. And the problem is a lot of people take situations and treat it like relationships. And it's like the convo is talking about situations instead of actual relationships. And when I see it, it's just like, it's kind of sad, because it's like relationships are meant to be work at the end of the day. Even anything you got going on that you want to take literal, it's going to take time, effort. It's going to take, it's like you said earlier, I don't know the third one you said, but it takes that. You need those 10,000 hours. Once you hit them 10,000 hours, I mean, you just perfect that mastery at that point.
What we keep skipping over is before you get to the relationship. And again, no one answered my question. Is the guy who wants to go through it better than the guy he's happy?
No, it's his perspective.
It's his perspective and it's his prerogative. We are trying to say that it is you have. Okay, I'm trying to bring two thoughts at one time.
I guess because it's more like
Take your time.
Okay, but yeah. Before we keep talking about what the relationship is, but before you get to the relationship, we are talking about before you get to relationship, and then we're skipping over that part because we're talking about the dynamics of a relationship, but we're skipping over the part that you pick the person. And my point is, nobody in this room is married. Everybody has the answer to how a relationship, but why is nobody in this room married? Because you're still picking, right?
because Jive ain't trying to be with me.
You're still looking. You're still trying to find right or wrong. You're not going to pick up somebody on the street and start up a relationship and make it last, because everybody in this room has an ex right now.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Tried to make it work out with.
Or did we, in some way, pick up somebody? Because I don't know. I've had a lot of jobs, and praise God, I've had this job for a while, and I keep it
because he take care of his kids and the future ones.
There are gonna be some future ones. I ain't gonna hold you, but but
to that point,
oh, y'all so funny.
It's a little harassment, just a tad bit.
I support.
See,
why are you supporting this?
Don't worry about it.
Anyway, I've had those jobs where I got hired, and then somebody took it upon themselves to find a way to get me fired, to disqualify me from this position. You just hired me, and now you're trying to do everything you can to disqualify me from in a position that you put me in. And I find, because the more and more we dive into capitalism and neoliberalism as not only a economic force, but a socioeconomic force, and influence how we have relationships, we're not getting into relationship as much as we're employing partners. And as long as you're employing partners with all these metrics, every day is a performance evaluation that turns into, can you be terminated from this position? And what we've practiced is not relationships, it's middle management. We're all running around here like somebody's manager.
But
we're all wait.
Okay.
We're all running around here trying to find the way to disqualify. If you want to talk about 10,000 hours worth of what we've done, 10,000 hours of training. Because we get on that book or on the gram or whatever you get on and find that kind of information and train yourself on how to find the triggers, how to find the traumas, how to find the negatives, so when you go out into the world, you think you haven't been informed by the propaganda that you chose for you. That's your algorithm. But we all walk into this world. We all walked into this room. There is a lot of recycled thought processes that we've all, because it's always you.
Don't treat me like that.
That we believed in, it became a shortcut for thought. And so we start using some of these catchphrases and all this other stuff when the truth is, and this is kind of like what I want to talk about, does any of this equal love? Does any of this get us to the point? If you're single and you're by yourself and you're happy, then this conversation ain't for you at all. Doesn't even involve you. If you're a hermit and you live out in the woods and you light matches to light a can of beans, this conversation ain't for you at all. But if you're in here trying to find somebody, if you're in here worried about if you going, because just like there's no atheists in foxholes, there's no desire for singleness in old age. These old motherfuckers. Now, I'm not talking about these rich people that we use exceptionalism to go, oh, well, Tracy Ellis Ross. That's not people. That's a celebrity. We're talking about people, because when you start breaking down, you gonna start learning how much you need people, and we all about to break down.
I just want to say this.
You said, wait, let me a second. Let me say.
He's still cooking.
So, but what have we practiced? What we used our 10,000 hours to practice? Separation. We've practiced how to disqualify people. We've practiced how to insulate ourselves from judgment. That's what our practice is. When you practice togetherness, when people who practice togetherness, they tend to end up together. We have coaches around here that you can see they practice togetherness, not only individually, but their culture insulates togetherness. Our culture doesn't insulate togetherness. The minute I do something, my girlfriend has 10 bitches and 45 niggas in her inbox. Leave that nigga, come out here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to think about, go back to what you said as far as, what was the first thing you said? Damn it.
I'm so happy y'all got great memories, because I don't.
No. You were saying, going back, if it's not for you, it's this. And,
Yeah.
And you said
Tracy Ellis Ross.
And you said something else. And I was like, I don't know. I can't. But to the point of wanting and doing all this in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
We try to put a part. One thing we definitely do more than anything, we try to put a time on it. We try to put a time on when somebody is going to get married. Speaking of Tracy Ellis Ross, this is a woman who I'm pretty sure can get married tomorrow if she wants to. But she, for her personal reason, maybe she hasn't found somebody that she can feel safe enough to do that. That don't mean she wrong. That don't mean that's her prerogative. We really act like it has to be. We talk about when you get old and breaking up, I'm going to always bring it back to who? Miss Ada. Miss Ada was the only 70-year-old I knew who had a boyfriend. She bought her own house. She lived across the street from me. We act like it's the end all be all. When Miss Ada broke down, Miss Ada sowed so much seeds in her life with not just, no, she wasn't loved deeply by this one particular person, but she was loved widely. So yeah, when she broke down, it was not, she was in there by herself. She was just this old. We act like it has to be that way. It does not. Because guess what? Everyone took care of her. Miss Ada was the woman from the help. Them white kids that she took care of still came to bring her food. But that's community. No. That's community. It's not exceptionalism if what you sow out. Because if I don't meet the man who I feel safe enough to trust this large part of my life, because guess what? The biggest choice you're going to choose is who sits next to you. If I don't make that right choice, I can at least sow seeds enough to where I have enough people, because I've seen it's not just with her. We want to look at it as this wide, this general group, but that don't necessarily, just because you old and you not married don't mean you gonna be in there by yourself with a whole bunch of cats. It don't mean that. But
that's not what I'm saying.
But
either.
If you old,
but if you've seen so point being, you young and nasty, you about to be old and great. We are reaping.
Why are you? It's to yourself though. And again, that is how that okay. Like I say, it's nothing new under the sun. You have a group of people again who are young and nasty. You nasty. Oh, this man better be this way. That don't mean every woman like that. That don't mean every single woman like that. That don't mean every single man is trying to sleep with every woman who walk into this room. It doesn't mean that. What it means is it's a specific group of single women who are mean and nasty and rude. And guess what? They probably might get old and they done pushed everybody out of their life. But guess what? It could be also a single woman who didn't find that, who reaped sold so many seeds in her life. No, she was not loved by this one particular love, but she has people who take care of her. Because guess what? And I'm only using her because she's a perfect example, but I've seen it in several different cases where this old woman, no, she had a boyfriend, Isaac. Mr. Isaac used to come in there in his Lincoln all the time. But she said whatever her reasoning was, it didn't work out. And Miss Ida did that, but she didn't die old. And no, she died fulfilled because she said she lived her life. And guess what? That's her prerogative. Why does it have to be you gotta be married? We put a time limit to everything. You not married, and why you? We ask these questions, but who says I can't get married at 35 and have the happiest relationship?
But okay, one, and you
again,
okay,
this is what I want to say.
Okay, go ahead. There you go.
We talk about love and how love got these stipulations. I've never met one woman who was in love. We're not talking about using. I've never met one woman who was in love, who did not go move heaven and earth for her man. Just like I've never met a man who was in love, who did not stick it out for that woman. But for whatever situation.
Tuned out said a minute ago I was supposed to be
on the show.
You got to turn it up a bit. It's a little.
And then he say he Mr. Flake. Ain't nobody got time for that.
But I've never met a man who's truly in love. You go above and beyond. And I've met a woman me myself, when I'm in love, I'm not giving all these stipulations. That shit sound good, but when I'm in love, I'm giving you 1,000,001 chances. So we keep saying when you in love, you ready to kick them to the curb. That's not it, because not one person I know who is deeply in love really live by them fucking checklists. That shit sound good. Because when you a woman in love, she gonna put up with 1,000 things before she get rid of your ass. Same thing with a man. If you really love that woman, you gonna go through fire, but that's when you really feel that love. But before you get to that, you are figuring out, can I get to that with this person? We are skipping over the courting phase.
But that's the part that I'm trying to talk about, right? The part is, if you haven't practiced any of that, courting is not. We're using correlative language to describe causation. And it's not the truth, right? And we're using, again, American exceptionalism, this idea that I can take 2 or 3 exceptional examples and then make a generalized.
But
That's that. Wait.
Because
this is This is the side note.
Go ahead.
It's very staticky.
I know. Hold on. Let me go. There we go. I have to replace some stuff. I realize what's going on. But to the point that you're making, and I get that. I've heard everything you said. Miss Ida sounds like a wonderful human being. And I won't take that from her. But I've lived in this country for a very long time, right? I see where we're going. I see
where some people go.
Writ large. Our American culture is not this way because 4 people are doing this.
Right, but
our side piece culture, all this other stuff that we call culture, is not that way because 4 people are doing it. There is a cavalcade of people who are indulging in this type of behavior. You don't have a culture where between 74 and 82% of children grow up never knowing a father because 5 fathers aren't doing it. There's a problem that we cannot get past as long as we're trying to find a way to not call it a problem. That's what we're doing. We're finding every which way to say, well, that's not really a problem.
It's a problem.
So,
what are you gonna do?
But
trying to read. All you can do is find your All you can do is find
That's not
your
true.
tribe.
That's not true.
Because guess what? No,
Wait.
no,
Listen. I listened to you.
Okay.
Like,
Okay. I'm trying to.
because when you look, we see these cultures that come over here with their cultural cohesion intact.
Because it's embedded in them.
Right.
Right.
So then you have, again, that's why I said a culture that insulates togetherness, because they have a collectivist understanding of the word I. Because for us, I means me. And as long as I means me, I will never mean us. That's something we had in civil rights. We don't have now. When I said I, in 1955, I met my community. I met my family. I met my coworkers. I right now is an atomized, very minute, one singular human being, very manipulative, easily manipulated, one. I. So then when we talk about the ability to create generational wealth, I'm going to create generational wealth. You, by yourself, you. Impossible. Why? Because there's no cultural cohesion enough to insulate and create political will around like-minded people trying to do the same thing. Other cultures understand that. This is why laws are created, to keep you from creating that cultural cohesion, because they understand something that we have long since abandoned. Yeah, there's going to be some great idas. Some. But this culture doesn't create idas at all. She's an anomaly. But what do they create? They create the niggas like me who sat there with my version of what I thought I was. I thought I was this immutable, amazing creature to which all exceptions could be made about my behavior. Because I was my coreness is I'm great. So anything that I've ever done wrong was just me not living up to my greatness. And no. When you do shitty things, it's because you're a shitty person at that time. Are you irredeemable? No. But were you shit? That's where humility comes from. Were you a shitty person in your 20s and your 30s when you treated niggas like shit, when you ran through women like you were a piece of shit? That's just what it was. Point blank period. You sowed a lot of seeds that way. So when a lot of people have a judgment about your behavior and who you were, that's because a lot of these people have an experience of you that doesn't speak to your definition of you. Okay. And you really, and not you personally, we as people love to forget how we've affected people. But a wise man once said, victims have long memories. And they'll remember you and your transgressions long after you've forgiven yourself for the kind of person that you were. And you never even asked for recompense to be able to come back and redeem somebody who still lives under the person you were to them, the person that you left with no answers.
Okay.
But go ahead. She got her hand in the air like third grade.
Go ahead.
Well, I think personally, that's the reason why they say before you can request somebody in a relationship or request something out of a person in a relationship, you should work towards being that person. Mm-hmm. That checklist you have, you should put in work to be that checklist yourself. Mm-hmm. So when you're requesting these things from somebody, what you want in a relationship, it's because you're actually doing these things. You're showing up. So as you're practicing, to where they say, treat that as the practice, because when you actually get into these courtships or relationships, that's the game day. Whether you in a warm-up before you actually in the game, but that's the game day. So it's like you've been, like how you like to say with me, you've been practicing that same jump shot and that crossover, and you gonna tell me you ain't cross up MJ? Or what would you say? You ain't
I did. I did say that. I did say that.
Something wrong. So,
yeah, I did say that.
Let's say I be listening. Future baby daddy. But that's where it comes in at, to where a lot of us, we do have that complex to where it's like, I ain't doing nothing wrong. I ain't did nothing wrong. I was perfect. They just couldn't see my perfection. I was great. Like you said, that accountability. They don't have that accountability. It's because they can't look at themselves and say, I was actually a shitty individual. I was shitty. And if I look at myself now, when I'm actually looking at myself in a mirror, a real clear mirror of myself, there was plenty of things I should have done. There are some people that I probably do owe an apology to. There are some situations I could have handled better, but I didn't. I just did me. And I allowed me to blind the fact of I could have been a better me, and not just in a way of I wanted somebody else to see me as a better me, but I could have actually been a better me. I wouldn't have been a shitty person, and I wouldn't have treated my victim as if they were the villain of my story when I was really the villain, and I just didn't want to see my villainous ways because I wasn't putting in the work to be better for the relationship, because I more than likely probably didn't see what I should have been working on because I wasn't actually paying attention. I wasn't trying to figure out what these other people got. Like you said, those facts or whatever things.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't actually studying for real. I might have glazed over it, but when I got into an open book test, I failed. And I failed not because you ain't teach me nothing. It ain't even in the book. No, it's because I failed. I did that myself. I did it to myself. And when I finally can admit that I've done it to myself, that's when you can actually grow and become better and actually know what you're trying to get out of a relationship. I mean, you can call it knowing yourself. You can call it knowing what you're trying to actually achieve based on what the notes have said, based on what the other lessons somebody probably done said,
Mm-hmm.
based on even when you look at anomalies, it doesn't even matter. You look at every aspect and you realize where you want to be at. I don't have a problem with my singleness, but at the same time, I would like a relationship. So if you're trying to be in a relationship, you can't just take your own singlehood and go with it. You have to actually see where you're trying to go with the relationship, because at the end of the day, a relationship is work. It's not just going to be peaches and cream, and you ain't going to always like that person. You ain't going to always love that person, but you have to appreciate and love the efforts that go into the relationship more than I want my goal person, my dream person. Because at the end of the day, as years go by, you're going to be a new person. That person is going to be a new person. So you can't get mad at the goalpost being moved when you thought that person was going to stay the same. But 20 years down the line, they're probably not that same person that they was back in the day. There's somebody new now.
We going in a circle because we
Okay.
get to that point. That is 100% true, but we still. Okay, I'm gonna start from the beginning.
Let's go.
Oh, Lord.
We really talk about, first of all, it's right now what we're seeing, because this is the first time we are in social media culture. This is not just a black culture thing. This is a cultural thing. So right now we're not produced in the black culture. We don't. Yes, it is, and we had this conversation the other day.
Mhm.
We not turning out Miss Idas. Yes, we are. Cause I can quote every time you talk to me. You be like, what black women are you talking to? Who are you talking to? Because why? I am a part of the culture where church culture.
Mhm.
They still get together. It's not all everybody negative. And guess what? It's people my age that go to church
Mhm.
who have the same, it's not that we are so doomed. Like I said, at Lake Mirror, we talking about, oh, it gotta be right. Why does we really have to look at black culture as it has to be bad? We are around black culture all the time. When you go to Lake Mirror, it's nothing but black guys playing basketball together. What
Oh,
they
no, I'm
doing?
just keeping what you said.
Okay.
There is black guys playing basketball. They saw my son, didn't know my son. Hey, you wanna? That's community. We have community. We can't judge our community on this culture of younger ones who are surrounding themselves around the social media culture, because that's different things. Yeah, we're black, and yeah, our statistics are different, and yeah, but that's what's popular now. That doesn't mean that everybody is falling into that category. My child, like I said, her group of friends, guess what? They're young and black. They don't have this. They're not a part of that. And it's not because that's an isolated incident, because guess what? That's a whole bunch of different girls from different backwards, but their parents share the same moral values. When I go in church, it's a group of black people, all different ages, that share the same values. Guess what? They do things for the community. We're looking right now how these black churches are turning out food for our community. That ain't just the United Way. These are black churches doing this. Because it's three or four black churches that's around me doing this. We have a good culture. Just because it's a group of people who believe inside bitch code, we keep trying to rope it all together of we are doing. It's not we. That's why I keep saying, who is the we? Who is the we? Because if I'm doing my part and she doing her part and you doing your part, there is no, we are doing right by we standard. But if you want to speak on we as the social media culture and what social media has brought to relationships, then that's the we you're talking about. You're not talking because guess what? It's a handful of black people not falling into that just as well as there's a handful of black people is.
Go ahead.
Okay. Boom. It was based off of something you said earlier. Okay. So you said, as far as you spoke about how other cultures understand that what that we starts off with, right? To where even this is what I dislike about the black church as well. To where we have these groups. We have these groups to where they're individuals, right? But in our actuality, it's not meant to just be individuals, men and women as individuals. We're meant to come together because how are we supposed to build as a community? How are we supposed to move forward? How we know we should move forward to be able to have that generational wealth. If everybody's just, I'm doing me single, you're doing you single, but we might do stuff for the community, but we're not actually doing it per se together. We're not doing it in a sense of unity of how it's supposed to be, to where we're supposed to be together. We're supposed to have these relationships. Our relationship in the home is supposed to be that example for the children that come about, or even if they came about before it, they're supposed to have some type of hands-on example, let alone what you pass out in the community. And the problem that I do see in these churches is that's why certain people call it a cesspool for singlehood, to where they're not teaching what it says to teach, to where you should marry. You should marry because you're trying to not only build, you're not only trying to be fruitful and multiply. And yeah, people can be fruitful and multiply without a marriage, but that was never the basis of how you were supposed to do it.
Black church is not teaching that. Because that's why a lot of people are leaving the church because they held to that standard.
And I'm going to say a good bit of them that I've seen.
Well, like I say, I've been to plenty, and that's why a lot of young kids leave because they feel like they're being judged by this culture.
I guess.
Well, because, and here's the thing, and I just wanted to answer. Everybody likes to say that the Bible says don't judge. And the Bible
it says judge.
The Bible says judge righteously.
Right.
So, so anybody that says that, oh, the Bible says doesn't, never said that.
Ooh, right.
Say that.
The Bible does say don't cast judgment. That's different than judging. Casting judgment is persecution.
You can't kill them.
Judging someone is making a qualitative observation. Because if I can't judge my brother before he gets to God, then now I got to answer. Because not only did he do wrong, but by sin of omission, you saw that.
And that's my point.
So then
we a culture, like I say, social, this younger culture. We're not talking about blacks because guess what? There are a lot of blacks that still live to that. But we have become a culture of don't judge me. I'm doing me. Bring out.
But I'm telling you, and I'm just a taste older. I'm an 80s baby. Okay. I saw the dissolving before social media. It wasn't social media and then shit fell apart. Shit was falling apart in the 80s.
Right.
Shit was falling apart in the 90s.
Systematically.
So there were things, and there were things that were not only that we were subscribing to, there were things that are thrust upon us to get us to this point. Social media is an accelerant, not a catalyst. It didn't make anything happen. It just helped along what was already coming along. We were already a dissected community. We were already fatherless. We were already baby mama, baby dad. That social media didn't create that. It just created funnier optics. It's just funny to look at now. But it's the culture that already existed. It didn't give us a culture. It just showed us our culture. This is what, and you show a lot of your personality by what you think is funny. We laugh at this stuff. Hard. We laugh at fatherlessness hard. We'll watch the lie detector determine that's a lie and kick and scream laughing. fatherless child. That's us laughing.
But who is us?
We as a people. So it was like, because
because
wait,
it's not
because
always-
just like the Malcolms, the Martins, the Hueys, the Ace Raps, the Angelas, the Asadas took responsibility for the us. That's what we have to do, because I'm responsible for the us. Even the lesser us's. That's us.
And you're making a point,
Like
but
that
guess
lady.
what? Us are doing it, but us that are doing it are not doing it for the gram. Because guess what? I go into my community. That's what we're not. I go into my Savannah State has ETS, Educational Talent Search. Savannah State has Upward Bounds, where they take black kids from schools, they show them around, take them to HBCUs, expose them to more. We have this in our community, but if we choose to focus on the shit that we don't, instead of like, oh, this church doing it, it don't matter if it's a separate. They're doing it. Because there are 4 churches around my house. No, they're not all together out there, but we're going to focus on their separation. But what are they all doing? People are getting fed, right? People who don't want to stand in this long line can go around the corner, and this line's a little bit shorter, and they can still get a nice brown bag. It's still black people out here that are helping people with their credit. We have a good community, but if we're going to focus on this little piece, because guess what? The only thing you should be worrying about is in your part in your life, are you actively doing your part? Because that's the only way shit going to get better. It did not get better. It did not get worse overnight. It got worse over years, over decades. So what are you doing right now to make that better? I can honestly say that in my corner of the world, I am doing my part. Can you say the same thing? Or are we just sitting around complaining? Because it's help out here. And it's strong blackness out here too. Very strong.
You know what that reminded me of? As far as the our bads. Shout out to old girl. Shout out to old girl.
Who's the old girl?
Old girl with that was sitting in the corner. Before with the bottle. Shout out to her. Shout out to her.
I don't think you were here. You were here for, oh my God.
Because she was saying that.
Boy.
To where she was like, she wasn't going to diss or leave out our the ratchetness or whatever, the bad side of us, because it's still us. See, you got to chew the meat and spit out the bones. Our sister, I can't just say, our sister that was on here, she said some stuff between the lines.
Yeah, she
and
did.
that was one of the things she said, to where you got to be able to take accountability for all of us, even if you don't per se like it, because it is a bad representation of us. And it might be about like 2 or really in today's society, it might be like 3 out of 5. It might be 3 out of 5 in today's society. But at the same time, we got to take accountability for what they're doing, because we wouldn't have these mindsets about what's going on where we're seeing these things if it wasn't so detrimental to our communities.
But
and not to say
the root is the parents, and it's
and
the parents.
That's where I'm getting at.
The community. Are you talking to these kids, or are you talking down to these kids? Are you welcoming them?
That's the point I'm getting at. See, we love to want to grow strong children over trying to help broken adults, when these broken adults are literally creating these children that we got to try to groom to be strong.
But how many?
Or
you
got children.
I don't like
you
kids.
got.
I don't want them.
You got children that are having children to where they ain't got nothing. They ain't got no mindset to pass on and teach these generations that's coming after them. It's just rapiding. So when we get to the point of who's actually teaching them the stuff that needs to be taught, not only just the young adults, but who's making those corrections to where, how you said, who's having that patience to where this person, you might need to give them a little bit more patience.
But here's the thing, and I just want to interrupt real quick. Here's the thing, right? Have I done decent in my life, right? Yes. I've been okay. Have I shown up in some public capacity, I've donated time, I've spoken to children, I've done some things here and there. And that's great. And I'm not saying that's that's not a great thing. So for all of us who've done that work here, congratulations for those things. But the thing that lives in continuity, right? The thing that you practice the most. D.L. Hughley said this: "You are the thing that you have to do. That's what you are." Right? So, who have I really been? I've talked to my children a bunch, but I've watched them follow my example in behavior much more closely
Exactly.
than they've ever followed my behavior in philanthropy or whatever.
Exactly.
That's just so. Can the church show up with brown bags? Sure. But as a community, as a culture, we have not shown up with the material consequences of what a progressive education is going to get you. We have not celebrated what a committed relationship is going to get you. We haven't done it. They've watched us cheat on each other. They've watched us hate on each other. They've watched us lie. They've watched us create and curate our own personalities to protect us from the judgment that we're so afraid of having. And because they're a perfect cross-section of who we are, they grew up to not only do exactly what we did, but to refine it to something that is. My father said that about me. I thought I was, because I love language, but I got that from my father. I always wanted to talk like my father. I was like, yo, this man is. And he told me on the phone, this is like maybe a month or two ago, you took that somewhere I couldn't even imagine. He said, but son, I look up words you say. And I'm like, what? I couldn't, like, I thought I was, but in my fervor to try to valorize the man that I respected, I did some stuff. I refined it a little bit. And I'm watching my kids refine me. But that's just the cute little positive way. But I've also watched their dating habits and watched and said, oh, that's me. That's a damning indictment of my behavior. When we watch these kids grow up, and I'm 45 years old, I got a kid closer to 30 than they are to 20. And watch their behavior and have to own it. The us. That's me. I did that. Even if they so then now here you are, the adult you, and the path that you traveled to get here, somebody saw you. And somebody was watching you and ingesting all of it. And then said, when it's my time, I got it. These kids didn't create this society. They may be furthering it, they may be refining it, but you can only refine what's tangible, you already have. We have a society that already doesn't valorize marriages or committed relationships. So the idea that I should be able to reject something before it rejects me is something that we watch a lot of our people do. So a lot of our women reject marriage because our women are the last to get married and the first to get divorced. Again, those are facts. You don't gotta like me. Jive is a piece of shit, but that's still the truth. So when you watch somebody, just like we watched pre-civil rights, how black people rationalize not voting. Voting don't matter. Voting ain't this. Voting don't change nothing. That ain't new shit that we just created. Those were pre-civil rights thoughts and ideas to try to rationalize Jim Crow era segregation, voting laws. So I'm going to reject voting before voting can reject me. So we take that mindset and then we just apply it to the stuff that we can't have now. I'm going to reject men before men can reject me. I'm going to reject women before women can reject me. That is a cognitive function that we have given ourselves to so we can save ourselves from the failures that we have committed our behaviors to. There is no way anything that we've done to this point qualifies us for anything that we're asking for. Being a scholar doesn't make you a great woman. Being a hardworking man doesn't make you a great father. Doesn't do it. It's not even correlative information. I'm a great mechanic because that's what I do most of my days. That doesn't make me a great father at all. I live in the grace of the children who've forgiven me for how great of a mechanic I become. Because I wasn't home being a great father. Because that's the only way you become a great father is by fathering. You can forgive yourself. And you can live in the grace of other people who will forgive you because they understand the society writ large. But that doesn't excuse you from what the truth is. The truth is, you didn't do anything but except create standards and expectations and all the stuff that we say, sans your input. Because you didn't create that. That's not you. That's not us. We not doing that. We are not civil rights era black people at all. Point blank, period. Our churches are not political centers of upheaval and radicalism at all.
But our churches, again, the only thing these churches have done wrong is that they have not moved with the time. It's a disconnect between older and younger. That is the number one thing these churches have done. They have disconnect. They have not moved with the time. But again, I visit churches. I visit black churches. I am an active member of my church. They pull in these kids. They get them active. They do it. They do it. They do it. So unless you really sit there and go to church and go to these churches and open your ears to it, you're not going to know if you're just going off of what you see. People are not putting their children in church because now they have this whole ideology on why God's not in church. God is home. That's true. But guess what? When I go to church, I'm around a group of people that's the same same morality as me. And they all, guess what? We have youth groups. They push black excellence. They push for and like I say, this is what I see. This is something I go to. This is something I've witnessed. Now, if I want to go, like you said, how we look at relationships through the lens of negativity, if I go into that church with the spirit of I'm just going to pick apart what's wrong with this church, I'm not giving it a chance.
That's right. I believe that for sure.
But if I go, like I say, unless you go in and you go in there with the openness, like I say, the only difference is these older people, they haven't moved with the time. They still trying to have this same uphold this older value and they are not connecting with the younger generation. That is the biggest problem they have, is the connection. But again, my pastor said, Bria, that's where your generation comes in at. Because Bria, we don't know. He said, so this next generation, he said, Bria, it's time for you and your age group to come back in church, because we used to do the church groups where they took us to HBCUs too. They took us to St. Louis. They took us to New York. They showed us a lot. In Atlanta, they used to have the Battle with the Bands, all the HBCUs, man. You know how powerful that was to go there as a big black group with all of these. I'm talking about a good hunk, a 2 Kelly tour buses of black people watching other black people. It's out there. But if you're not looking, or if you're choosing to look at it through this lens, or you choosing to look at it to pick apart, you're going to find exactly what you're looking for.
That's fair. Go ahead, girl.
Okay. I think my situation when it comes down to it is the lack of judgment for a standard, to where sometimes we do have people, even groups of people, that might be on a certain thing, but it's not necessarily a standard. It's standard enough for them, but it's not an actual standard. Like, it does something. It gets us those accolades. It makes us feel more connected as a people. It gives us those feel goods, but it's not an actual standard. It's not an actual flag being held up on. This is where we need to be, like how they have when it comes down to fires, right? Certain places, most places, you have to legally have, like buildings, you have to legally have visible sign to say this is where you need to meet when it's a fire. The problem is we have groups of people that might have groups on. If it's a fire, we know we gonna be over here, but we don't have that not stand. That's something. It's like that standard, that actual stand view, that standard right here to actually go to. And whenever we see it, we pick certain parts that we want and then we leave it. And even when you talk about the churches, they might do things. I won't take it away from them. They probably are. But even when they go about with their standards, as far as the standards they're meant to be going about, they ain't necessarily going about that either. And then this is the reason why they feel like, you know what? We got to gravitate to the youth. We got to get the youth. And they'll say things like, oh, your generation. But they skip the fact of, well, this is what y'all did in y'all generation that got my generation, the generation right after y'all, to be exactly where we're at today, let alone new babies coming in to where now y'all telling us to where y'all as a group got to come back and give us that grace for what we weren't doing, so y'all can gravitate to these grandbabies or these younger babies because they see where they're at that moment in time, and that probably was more than likely wasn't what they was on during the time you actually needed them to be that figure. So now they see the mistakes, they want to grow from the mistakes, but that's because they never had a standard. Like you said, our stuff been falling apart since like what, the 80s and whatnot. Like, so we might have people that try to play makeup and want that grace and whatnot, but when it comes down to actually upholding that standard outside of just, I'm going to try to implement as best as I can with y'all and hope that y'all can connect to these people, because I really, if they had the choice, most of them, they would probably cut out the middle people and they would go directly. But like you said, they don't have that connection to them younger kids. So in a sense, they need that middle person, that middle ground, because they can't directly connect to them to give them what they are trying to outpour, where they see should be outpoured. That's why they say that when a person has a child, when they're older in age, after they already had a baby, that last baby is going to be different from that first baby, because that first baby is who you was at that very moment in the exact time, while that last baby is who you've become, whether for the better or the worse. So during those moments, are you going to be mad because this first one or these older ones aren't acting the way you feel like they should be acting at this moment? We're seeing those bads that we don't like. Are we going to be mad at them? Or are we going to recognize the fact that we were some shitty people at that moment in time? We want to be better.
About the art. I'm confused.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
So, yeah, like, so if I'm hearing her correctly, right, and I think, like, we have to, the churches are doing their thing, but you can't just reach out to the kids without connecting with those parents, because you're skipping something. You're skipping an order of operation, right? Because who socializes children the most is their parents.
But
so you're almost
parents,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So so that's the point, right? So that's the point of getting to these parents, because if the example that my children are biologically keyed to understanding is their parent, their biological creator, they're gonna look at us. If the church is like, we got to get to these kids, you're bypassing the parent. You're bypassing the actual, you're not even using the most potent exemplar of their personality building. You got to get to these parents, and you got to create, like, so when you saw those churches in the yesteryears, and I say that because they were, the radicalization, because they created material benefits to the church. There was a reason to go to a church, right? Like you were saying, there is this. It wasn't just the soup kitchen, right? Out of philanthropy, it was, we're eating as a community. I wasn't feeding you out of pity. This was This is how we communed. This was the church. The church was a community center. This is where we went to go, not just fellowship, but be with each other. They went to church like we go to the club. Like, that's where you went to go, right? That's where you went to go get your news. That's where you went to go get your you know what I'm saying? So the church because it turned into, a lot of prosperity, all that nonsense, lost a lot of its edge, a lot of its.
What churches are y'all talking about? Because the reason why
Majority of the church.
no, because like I said, I've been to several churches in Savannah, and guess what? And guess all different kinds. What you're talking about, I can't relate because we have to get Bria. It's your generation because we are the parents. They are talking to the parents, but what they're saying is, I don't get the younger generation because there is a big time gap. Bria, these are because when we were children, it was them and they were the parents. They were the ones that set up for us to go on the church trip. They were the chaperones. They dedicated their time. There is a disconnect because no one wants to dedicate their time.
Yes.
We have people that sit around and talk about the problems of the black community, and in the same breath, they say, well, I don't really like people. I don't deal with kids. So how the fuck you talking about what's wrong, the problem with the community, and you don't even want to put your foot in it? Or the people talking about the churches are so bad, and you not stepping your foot in these churches.
So to your
These
point, so
churches
that's
are really doing something. But if you want to sit there and look at it from, or you want to, no, they're not all going to go together. But guess what? I don't care if every church don't like each other. I don't care if y'all beefing like Crips and Bloods. Because guess what? You still, when it's all based down to all of it, you still are helping your community. You helping the people that want to listen to you. If I can't get the message from this church, okay, I'm gonna try, because that's why I go to different churches to see what message I can get to. Because guess what? Maybe this church didn't do it for me, but maybe this church do.
And I don't
They do
discount
talk
that. I
political.
don't discount that. But the thing that you said earlier, right? There's a lot of people. It's getting on my nerves. A lot of people have a lot to say about the church, never stepped in one, right? I could say, well, that's just a generalization, and most people, or I could say, you know what? I think there's validity to your statement. Not every single person is doing that, but it doesn't have to be every single person. There is a zeitgeist amongst black people, a common spirit amongst us, that we try to discount the church. That's just the truth of it. All the stuff that we all hear, that I'm spiritual, I'm not religious, and God ain't in the church. We've all heard it, and it's really, again, a refusal to answer to a higher authority than ourselves, because in the atomized version of I'm the highest level, and anybody who speaks from a higher place of authority threatens my thing.
That's what killed it.
So
the want to that is the root. We can sit here and look at, like I say, the root is different. We want to look at the outer surface, but the root. I know people who separated from because they couldn't, and this is a family member who did this, because they couldn't run this particular church, and they could be over the collection plate at another one. I swear, I've seen it. And the only people that was in the choir was them. Like, and I'm the only, everybody from every member of the church, and I'm the only they in the choir. I've seen it. So there will be a level of corruption somewhere.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring it back to the Bible. Right? The scriptures talk about how Israel was always a stiff-necked, hard-headed group of people, to where when we had standards, we did everything under the sun not to attest to them, regardless of our leaders that were in the temples, aka the churches, church pastors and stuff like that, down to the individual people themselves. And it's been a repeated cycle, to where even if it's dressed up as gold, that don't make it gold. To where when we talk about these standards, who's really attesting to the stronghold? To where it's cool that you can give tithes, and I don't mean like the church giving money to the church. I mean when the church is actually like doing the labor of what the church is supposed to do, giving to the community, making sure they're good, making sure they're okay, making sure when people come in, they know what is expected of them when they walk out the door and they go into these communities. We might have some out here those anomalies that are out there that say they're doing it and probably are doing it. But when we talk about a standard, whose standard are you upholding? Because when it comes down to, I go to church, but you hear them, they're talking about picking out of the scriptures what is best for that lesson outside of the lesson what the scriptures say you should be on. It tells you how you should be, not only as your individual self, but as your person in a relationship, as a person in the community, let alone if you are a leader of that community. There's certain standards that are for you to be on. And a lot of the times we're not talking about those standards. We're saying that we got things going on, but we're literally just picking up the pieces as people keep throwing the pieces to the ground. So when are we going to actually get to the point of stopping the glass from being shattered in the first place? To where, yeah, we could talk about cleaning up the community and whatnot, but when are we going to get to the ground basis? To where, like you said, there's people still out here single. There's probably plenty of people out here single ain't never had no kids and whatnot. To where they're thinking about certain stuff. Or even if you think about the people out here that's still popping out babies. To where, hey, when are we going to talk to them people? To where, when are we going to put some type of hold, some type of grabbing onto, hey, we need how they be feeling like how these girls, where they be like, oh, I got standards now to where she's not accepting what she used to accept anymore. So in the same sense of, when exactly are we going to not accept bad behavior? When are we going to actually skip from, I just want to polish up and make sure the youngers are right, and actually get to the people that need getting right in? To where we got people that talk to people, but we need them talk to more than anything, because at the end of the day, they are the people that the youngers look up to. When are we going to get those adjustments? And plus, it's some people, I'm not saying in every church, but there's a good bit of churches, which is the problem. It's a good bit of churches. I'm not saying it's every church, but it's a good bit of churches that aren't attesting to stuff. You got old, nasty women. I know a few churches. She's the mother of the church, but she a nasty old bit or something. Or they're a deacon, but he a nasty old man. They're not actually walking in that lighting on how they're supposed to be in these positions that they're in. But these are the examples that people are going to. And it not only does it drive people away, not saying that that should be the excuse, because you should have somebody that's able to check you. And church did used to be that stronghold for people to be able to go in. That was the whole purpose of the service, not to go in there and talk about prosperity or talk about God gonna bless you, boo, boo, boo. No, it was in there for you to learn what you're supposed to do, what laws you're supposed to attest to, and how you need to be bettering yourself as a person once you leave here. Church days was not meant to just be talking about what you can get and just like, no, you were meant to be reaccustomed, realigned to what we expect out of you when you out here in the community, whether it's in your household, whether you're out there and about on a regular day with people, like the standard. And a lot of us aren't necessarily teaching standards. And when we go about going to go try to fix the solutions, we're literally putting a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. A Band-Aid on a bullet hole. That's not helping the bleeding. Yeah, it's trying to patch it up, but we're still bleeding out right now. And when are we going to do something about bleeding out? And yeah, you got to be a walker more than a talker, but we have majority of our people. That's why I say the 2/3 thing. You got 2/3 of people that ain't trying to be on nothing. You got the ignorant that want to stay ignorant, and you got the people that know that ain't really trying to do. When are we going to actually attest to some standards? Like how other people got standards, how they have that, this is how we are going to be. And I know I got to do what we need to do. When are we going to do that? When are we going to step up?
I'm going to bring this in a full circle.
Let's go.
Okay. Yes, there are churches. Just like there are people who create cults in the basis of church. They're like people who will use a movement or a tragedy to manipulate it. That is just the way of the world, but that does not mean you penalize. Just like there are some that there are some people that you're not gonna save, and I said this before on the phone. How do you light a candle? If this is a room full of candles, how do you light the candle? Do you light them all at one time? or do you light them one time? One candle can light 100. Again, you reach who you can. Do not shut out just because it didn't work at this church. I'm going to rope all the churches in. Not saying you're doing this, but we do that just because this church did this, because we have to be able to be honest that there are people who do exploit God for money. That it's in biblical days of how people pretended to be prophets. It's out there, but you have to don't rope everything in because of that experience. Just like don't rope all black, but the black experience has to be bad as a culture. We are terrible because there's a handful of people we refer to as YNs that are just radical. Just like I said, our generation has a group of people that had the generation before us looking like, oh, this not gonna get better. But you can light a light wherever you at. Like I say, it's not going to get better. We are not, I don't know, we talk as though we're going to wake up and tomorrow is going to be better and everybody is going to have it fixed out. It's not going to work like that. But you can change. Like I said, and this is how I walk. I'm only speaking from my experience because I am very passionate about our people. I love children. I genuinely love children of all people. I talk to the homeless man, sit down. I know, like I said, I go down, I can name 5 homeless people that's on Broughton Street right now. Not because I look down on them or I'm trying to record what I do for them, but because I took the time to learn them. Okay? When you out here and you talking to these children, when I encounter a child, I use my light and the passion that's in me, because it is strong, it is going to come out. Now, I may not light they candle right then. I may not light it all the way, but I spark something. That's what Zulu was saying right here. He said, when I talk, it may not change everybody, but at least if it sparks the idea in one person. I showed Gabby the Mississippi burning. You know what she did? She went and told her friends, have y'all seen this? So that's a light that you're lighting. But I hate that we as a people will talk, oh, we're just bad, or these black churches are doing it, but it's not all. Stop generalizing. It's not all.
I guess I'm going to say it like this. When it comes down to lighting the light, right? To where all you can do is try to plant a seed or water a seed that's already there. But even in the scriptures, you got some plants that aren't actually rooted. They're rooted on things that may not keep them grounded. So you can do all of these things and this person still falls off to the side.
Exactly.
And even when we're doing these things to where you're meant to be a walking example. Yeah, you're meant to be a walking example. You're meant to try to enlighten. But when you have a majority of our people in a type of deficit to where even when they're being given that enlightenment, you're trying to light the candle, they're letting their light go out because they either don't care or they're rejecting the idea of their candle being lit even before it's lit. To where I'm a firm believer how the scriptures say not everybody's going to be saved and you can't take everybody with you. And at a certain point, after you've been trying to warn people, you have to learn when to knock the dust off your shoes and keep it pushing, to where you take the people that are trying to be on this standard and trying to be on how we should be as a people, and you go with it to where it's not a fight. I'm not fighting you to want to get better. I'm not fighting the people in the community that want to be on whatever they want to be on. This is the standard. This is where we should be, where we need to be. And if you're working towards being on that standard, I can have you around. I can deal with you. If you not, then, hey, look, listen.
And that's exactly the relationship argument of if you're not on this level, it's all going in circle. It's literally going.
It's not literally like, when I say that, this is the standard. And I'm not saying as far as like a standard in a relationship, because at the end of the day,
no. I'm not talking
stuff,
like literally. I'm saying,
I mean, like,
but what you said is the argument of everybody not gonna get it. You can't take everybody with you. This is the standard. If you are not at this standard, you can't be around. These are your words. Okay?
Yes. This is
the same thing we're saying about a relationship. But again, we are generalizing it to where it's okay. And that's okay.
No, this is where I'm getting at, though.
Okay.
This is where I'm getting at. To where it's not based on my standard. It's based on seeing what actually works and what's meant to have it work. Same way how he was talking about with you can go look at all the everything's on why it didn't work and what actually keeps it working. That is the standard. It ain't based on what I want. It's not about me. It's about what they actually what actually made it successful. What made it work? What made it keep going? That's the whole point of it, is for it to keep going.
And
to
by you
extend
living
that.
your standard, if you walk in, listen, if you walk in your standard and you walk in your purpose, you're going, and I think it was Freud. It was somebody, and I will find out the exact scientist who said it. But when you are, no.
And
Who?
but that's the thing
Go
where
ahead.
I'm getting at though. When it comes down to, it's not about me. It's about what is meant to be. It's not just about me. It's not what I could walk in my purpose and whatnot. And of course, you're going to run into the people you're supposed to run into. But it's overall when we talk about our community. I'm not saying everybody in our community is bad. No. But we have a good bit of us that literally aren't on nothing for real. That's why you see a lot of our communities not actually being communities. We'll be communities as far as like we'll come all in this together, but being a community where it counts as far as like really passing on something for real, to where you're passing on actual relationships that worked, an actual marriage that worked, passing on that what comes out of that marriage, not just physical resources, but resources that could help them with their next people, or from their partner and their children. Like, we're not passing these things on. We're passing on things that feels good, that might help us feel good as far as on a ground surface level, but we're not passing on things that actually could help us as a community to keep us as an extension of us as a nation.
Because we are confused. The reason why I say if you walk in your purpose, one thing about a light can do two things. It defines darkness and it defies darkness. When you walk in your light, not only are your people going to find you, but people see it. It's a certain integrity that walks with people. Now, not everybody's going to see it. And we do have a large group of people who don't care, but we actually have a large group of people who just don't know too. And guess what? And this is me speaking from perspective, because why I do go into the community and I will talk to anybody. I will speak to a dog if the dog would talk to me. And guess what? Whatever conversation we bring up, I guarantee you they will engage in it, or they will try to learn from it. But like I say, I'm not trying to change nobody, but being that I walk with that and I talk and I walk the way I talk, it is possible, but we talk about it like it's just impossible.
I guess the point I'm getting at is
Mhm.
when we talk about light and what's dark, it's something I said earlier. How exactly do you know what's right and wrong? What's the light of it and what's the dark of it if you don't have a standard on what's right and what's wrong? What needs to be seen as light and what needs to be seen as dark? Because we got a lot of people that feel as though I'm walking around, I'm light, I'm walking in my purpose. But the same way how something bad is going to attract other bad is the same way how something light's going to attract light as well. So it's like when we talk about this walking in light, how do you know what's light? How do you know what's proper knowledge if you're not actually being held to a standard?
Let me tell you, people can justify wrong, but if you cannot distinguish right from wrong, you lack empathy. That is, something is wrong
That ain't
with
necessarily.
you. No.
That's not necessarily
And,
true.
and I only say that because guess what? I know a handful of people who were taught doing wrong was right, but they still knew. Now, whether it was justified, because guess what? That's a big problem where it's not the fact we don't know right from wrong. It's what is justified. If I know throwing that rock off this highway, and this has happened, can damage somebody's car, make somebody get into an accident. You know that shit is wrong. But if you don't have a foundation of people behind you to correct you, you don't care.
I'm going to say it like this.
Because we know right and wrong.
Not
we know
everybody.
Right and wrong. We know right and wrong.
Okay, so in this same instance, right, has there been any time where you've seen a child to where you feel as though they should know that's right or wrong and they don't know?
What age? Give me an age.
I'm just
Because again, like I say, right and wrong. Right and wrong, you know what's wrong, but if it's gonna be justified, because I've watched, you know what children do? We like to play like children are stupid.
no,
But
I'm
children
not
have
saying
more
it based
common
on,
sense. But if they know that they can play a situation, because I have not, like I said, I had an autistic child. I've seen it. I've seen it with children. A
That's-
child know right and
that's-
wrong. But
that's-
if that parent, or who around them are
That's-
going to make an excuse,
That's what I'm getting at.
okay,
That's what I'm getting at. Right and wrong is based on a perspective. To where certain cultures, if you eat cow, that's wrong. Their people grow up knowing eating cow is bad. But us over here, ain't nothing wrong with it.
we talk.
No.
Go ahead. I need you to rope
As
this
far
in.
as they're concerned, that's having empathy to the cow. But as far as we're concerned, it's just a resource that we're eating from. So in a sense of right and wrong, what's right and wrong behavior, it's really based off of your culture on what y'all subscribe as a standard of what's right and wrong, and what y'all implement. Not implement it to where implement. So for us to say people automatically know right and wrong, that's not true. Your idea of right and wrong could hopefully be passed on genetically. It could hopefully be kind of like weathered in certain mannerisms to where they see something and they know something is like how kids can grow up and they could see their parent cussing. So they start cussing. They don't necessarily recognize it's wrong because it's something they've seen growing up. But when they get older, they could learn, the parent could be like, nah, that's wrong. That's a behavioral thing that they had to learn right and wrong on. Everybody doesn't wake up knowing.
But that's what I mean. A child is a blank slate. But when that child cuss and that child sees people's facial expression, they see the children, they see the
There's
reaction.
some children
it comes
that sees that and they laugh and think it's funny.
because
So
they were what? They are probably told, and
They were
it's not,
shown
let me
that.
tell you, when it happens one time with a child, you correct it. But I guarantee, like I say, if in this culture, like I say, in Hinduism, they believe that killing anything is wrong, right? Killing any, but we're talking about like we say marriage. We're talking about right now. If a child doesn't know that stealing is wrong, a child knows that stealing is wrong.
No, not necessarily.
But no.
Some children
no,
just pick up stuff
because
they
you know,
want it.
because you know if you steal, you're going to jail. That's not a secret.
No.
That's not a secret.
I'm
but
talking
if
about-
you are
I'm not
being
just talking-
pacified, if you are being taught,
I'm not just talking about school age children that come to. I'm talking about when you first start off as a child, not a child that's a
we're
little
not
bit after
talking about
when
a baby.
no,
Give me an
even
age, because you say child. Child can range from
anywhere from once you pass toddler stage, a child. Once you pass toddler stage, you are still a child. You have some children that don't know. Just because they're of age does not mean they just know what's right or wrong. They're still learning how we're learning.
give me an age, because you have to do a cutoff, because you can say
Even
from toddler.
they say-
Toddler is 5.
Okay, they say
Like I said,
toddler is not 5.
what is a toddler? What is 5 years old?
5 years
6.
old is preschool age.
So what is a
toddler
toddler?
is anywhere from 1 to 3 years old.
1 to 3 years old
Is a
okay.
toddler.
So you said from what age? To
From
what?
anywhere from 3.5 to 4. Well, really more than 4. 5. They say it's roughly like 5 or anywhere from 5 or 7. That right there. Well, no, technically, baby is 0 to 1. Toddler is 1 to 3. Preschool is anywhere from 3.5 to 5. Then 6 on up is school age children. So at some point in time, these kids don't know. It's the reason why even when we bring up them going to preschool, as far as I say Japan because I respect it, to where in Japan, these kids might go to preschool and whatnot, but they're not per se learning legit school rules. They're learning mannerisms on how they need to behave and how they should behave, not only at home, past being at home with their parents, but actually learning how they should be in the community at these ages. They don't actually learn school stuff for real, until they're in I think first grade, to where they're actually learning legit school stuff because they're taught how we expect you to behave in society.
Okay. So as a toddler, meaning you are learning, because a toddler knows. So you pick up these keys. Now they probably might think it's funny, but that's how they interpret trouble. But they know that they're not supposed to do it. Now, how you react to it is you teaching them. But A child knows when they are you have a child knows when they're reaching into danger zone. But now how they react to it and how you react to it is where parenting and teaching come in it. And that's
So,
at toddler age.
You ain't never seen a kid just go do something to do something, not recognizing that it's danger, not recognizing it's wrong. They just go do it. And they don't. I done even seen a kid try to go touch a fire. They don't even recognize it's the danger, but they're trying to touch a fire touch a fire, let alone doing stuff outside.
And why do we let them do it?
We're not
They
per se
feel it.
letting them do it.
We feel it. They feel the heat, but they don't understand the danger of it. That's why parents do let them get, because there is a repercussion. You're teaching them that.
And that's the thing of learning that is not the right thing to do, right? But at that moment in time, as they're reaching in it, they're not understanding that pain and that.
We're talking about toddlers. Now we're talking. Now let's.
I'm saying
I don't
children.
Expect a toddler. Children.
It's
now,
even
give me the age
children.
group for children.
Anywhere from 3.5.
Okay, so wait, because this is going it's going around. Look, I get what you're trying to say, and I get where this is going. Look, do children do things in order to sort of push boundaries and see what they can and can't do? Yes, that's just what children do. That's a thing, right? They all do that. Are children completely cognizant in a adult capacity of
no, but
the systemic problems that they would cause by doing this? No, they don't have that wherewithal. No, right? But do children have some sort of capacity for cognition? Yes. Do they know, I'm going to go in the kitchen and take this even though I know I'm not supposed to be taking this? Yeah, they know. This is why I call them perfect cross-sections, because they're taking in their environment. And if you've ever seen, I think it was the first or second Jurassic Park, they were like, oh, there's certain barriers. It was a highly electrified thing to keep the dinosaurs from trying to get out. And it was at some points they were you could see where there was some damage or some scratching. It was what are they doing? They're testing the fence to see, is it all of it?
Yeah, the weak.
They're intelligent enough to realize, oh, this is a boundary, and I'm gonna test the weak points. Kids are like that. People are like that. You go to your job and figure out, all right, look, what can I get away with around here? It's just a human condition to sort of find out your parameters. You mentioned earlier. We do that. I do that at my job. We all know there's things that technically you probably shouldn't be doing, that this job is going to it's not a big deal. And so long as you don't, you're not heavy-handed with it, things are going to be fine. You're going to proceed as whatever. We all do that. That's just a human thing, right? The conversation that we're trying to have and we've sorely lost track of, it's how our behaviors have informed us of what love isn't, and what we're trying to achieve. Because if all of our behaviors are supposed to be about how we are informing how we will love, are to be loved, and all this other stuff, can you nitpick behaviors into love, or are you creating a contract or terms of endearment? I will endear myself to you based upon this litany of checklists and all these other things that we'll do in order to say, I'll deal with you in a romantic capacity. Again, our relationship conversation starts turning contractual. And then in order to validate and make sense of it, we'll actually do a lot of work to go back and borrow understandings from yesteryear. Oh yeah, well, when they did dowries, dog, dowries. You can't name me a century that they were doing dowries in. You can't find me somebody, especially not in this culture.
Oh, our culture, no. Other cultures.
I can name
other
some,
cultures,
but
yeah,
a
they still
dowry.
do it to this day.
I can still.
So then that's what we'll do. What else do you know about that culture? Nothing. Oh, they do dowries though. You don't know nothing about any of the other things that they do, but you understand that part. So you want to borrow that language in order to validate how your behaviors now.
I feel like this just makes a good conversation because only reason is we talking all this shit, but like I said before, you even said before, oh, I have all these standards, but when I meet somebody that I really want to be with, them shit's gonna go out the door.
They go out the door.
The conversation,
Yeah.
like I said, and that's been my
Yeah.
argument. The conversation is irrelevant because I've met a woman in love, and she doesn't give a fuck about not one standard that she had
Maybe I'm
because
not
she's
normally.
in love. When you meet me.
But is it? But
We meet me.
no.
All of those standards, I may appease those standards, but you like me because you like what I bring, and vice versa. I like what you bring. Not once have I've never asked you what you made. I've never asked you, told you, you need to do this, you need to have this, I'm enjoying your company because I feel all of that shit. It sounds good and people are saying it, and there's some people who probably live by it, but let's see how that shit works for them, because it's nothing but trial and error. But in all reality, for me, I don't live by the standard.
But and okay, so and to be fair, and I think, and maybe this is me being arrogant or whatever. I think the space, especially the artistic space, we live in the exception, and because we are always surrounded by each other, we've normalized us and said, "Oh, we're normal people," and we're not.
No, but this is our group. We can you can
Yeah.
just like I said, you can find a YN group, and yeah, they gonna get together and they might have theirs, or you might find a group of married people who are all just swingers, because we have them. We can find a polygamy group because I know about 3 people now who are doing the polygamy thing. We can find them, but guess what? That's their group because they all share that commonality. It's not me saying you wrong, but that ain't what I'm into. This what I'm into. I like my little and I won't mind finding people similar to my group because this is wherever happened in life or whatever happened with any of life, it brought us right here.
For sure.
So
I appreciate
it's
that.
your group. And I'm cool with my group. I couldn't go hang with these polygamists because
Yo, we've been out here for almost 3 hours, and we
I can't
about to
fuck the booty.
get
All
up
right,
out of
slide
Dodge
back,
City.
bro.
Yo, man, it's been a dope episode, man. It's been fun. I've had a lot of fun with this one. How you doing? You want to end it off? You want to say something?
Yes.
Are you gonna be
Girl.
ridiculous?
It's girl Shadira Day out here. I want to say shout out to a lady named Bria,
That's right.
and I also want to say shout out to my future baby daddy over there, Jack.
Why did
Can't
I
clap
turn
for
on the
him.
clap?
Can't clap for him.
I'm gonna turn that down.
Oh. He doesn't know it yet. He knows, but he doesn't know.
The Lord have mercy.
Oh,
Christ
wink.
Jesus. Yo, this is your boy Jive English. We had a dope conversation. If you like anything that you heard, if you didn't, yo, you can always hit the chat, like, share, subscribe. Hit the chat, man. Tell us what you thought, man. We're gonna be hitting the scene with some new reels and all that other cute stuff. We about to hit the scene to make a splash, man. We about to make it do what it do. Tomorrow night, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We are over at Hot 2100 Savannah doing our thing. Kids in the Hall radio show. Hot 2100 Savannah. Yeah, we out of here like last year. Peace.
Like I did in the